Hi everyone, how are we all doing? Oh wait, where are my levels at? Oh shoot, you know what? Hold on. Shoot, just shoot. Oh no. I'm just realizing. Hold on. I had this set on the recording status. Okay. How's my mic level? Am I okay? I have to set up OBS a little bit differently for recording because I'm trying to do something funky with editing. To make my life a bit easier with the editing, but then I forget to flip stuff back when I'm streaming. And hello, Cass and Vic and Kiwi, T-Bex. Hey, Stevie. I think I saw her pop in there. I'm sure I'm missing lots of people. Oh, for God's sake, stupid mouse. Okay, how do I sound? Can you guys hear me okay? Mic's good? Yeah, I know. I'm not gonna do much lighting. So essentially, my hair's a mess. I have it in braids. I got tired. I took a nap. I'm like, you know what? We could have like we could do more lives, like chill lives, if you guys don't care how I look and if you don't care if there's light on me. Because the light causes migraines. Oh, hey, Dust. The light causes migraines. Doing the makeup is like, it's exhausting. It really is exhausting. So like, if we have like low light chill streams where I'm not needing to have my lights on and I'm not needing to worry about makeup or anything like that, we can do more stuff like this. Oh, let me actually adjust that chat box. Chat box, where are you going? Let's see. I don't know where the best spot for you is. Because down here, the only issue with it being down here is that I just like you guys to be able to see the video that we're looking at. God, I wish I could flip it so it's the other way, but it wants me to pay. Because I want it on this side. Ugh, stupid chat box. Okay, we'll just try up here. So yeah, so we could do some more live streams, some more chill ones if you guys don't care how I look, which I'm sure you guys don't care actually how I look. I think I care how I look, and I think that's the main thing. Well, yeah, I mean, I can set up like I have like a little thingy that pops up when I talk. I can set that up too, but oh wait, I have to reset it up because I lost my settings. I can design something, but I can also just be off camera too. So I'm just trying to be on camera more because YouTube is dinging everyone for not being on camera. So to be safe, cam up. We're camming up as much as we can. But yeah, like low light is like I live like a vampire because of the migraines. Okay, so we're gonna start with a couple things. So today we're going to be looking at Stevie's video that she did recently with Joan, Ladies Fright. Definitely go follow Stevie and Joan as well. Yeah, YouTube is like demonetizing anyone who... YouTube is using AI to decide if channels are AI. It's not working. It's demonetizing anyone who isn't using a camera. That's pretty much what's happening. So they're trying to get rid of the AI slop, but they're using an AI slop. Like, AI is not ready to replace humans. So they're using AI. Sorry, this pillow is going to be going in and out. They're using AI to moderate YouTube, but AI is not ready to replace freaking employees, but billionaires who run these companies don't care or realize, and they're fucking... Sorry, I don't mean to swear right away. They're really... It's getting ridiculous. Yeah, it's just like there's a lot of people being demonetized, so they're essentially saying that it's inauthentic content, which means like you copied it from someone or you're using AI to make like mass produced content. And to me it's like if you're like releasing like a video a week or something. That's not really mass produced, but there's people being demonetized who aren't using their camera. So you may have noticed some of the channels that you follow are starting to like show up on camera for like the first, even just ones who aren't normal on camera. I'm noticing they're starting to do cam up in like the first 5 minutes of a video. And we have to make our thumbnails all look very different too. You can't have similar looking thumbnails too much as well, because they freak out about that now. It's just like, you shouldn't be getting ads here. Hold on. Let me double check the ads. I did put it on manual, which means it should only do it. Oh, the current bitrate is lower than the recommended bitrate. Recommend the bitrate at 23. Okay, hold on. Wait, let me fix this because I'm sure I did not do this right. Hold on. Bitrate. Okay, what does it want? 23,500. Okay. 23,500. Wait, kilobits? 23,500. Yes. Okay. Okay, that should help. Hold on. Stream settings. Let me double check. The monetization. Okay, the monetization is on manual. It should not be giving you ads. It should be that I set the ads. If it's giving you ads, then another thing that they've changed. Annoying. Yeah, like I appreciate they're trying to crack down on AI, but they honestly don't really seem to know what they're looking for. I don't know. YouTube, it's in this weird flux right now. Even Mr. Beast, like his views have dramatically dropped. They've been messing with the algorithm, and then they're saying that they haven't done anything to it. It's like you clearly have, you know, like whatever. Anyway, so yeah, we're gonna try to cam up as much as possible when we can. All right, so let's first start off. We're going to take a look at Stevi and Joan's recent video that was featured on Stevi's channel. I think she linked Ladies Fright. We'll link their channels as well. Okay, and then we're going to start off though with the merch site is now live. I am not good at math, so I was trying to do like a countdown to like 5 p.m. Eastern today, and the whole site is in like universal time code, and then I like Googled it, and it's like, yeah, that is this time UTC. So I put in that time, and apparently there was still a countdown. So I'm like, I just made the site live now, so it may have been asking you for a password a little bit earlier on. So anyway, now it's live. All right, so we have the merch. There's a resting witch face. We did a vote for this one, what you guys wanted for this, so the resting witch face one, and then there's the karma collection as well. So I mean, we'll take a quick look at quick look at these. All right, let's do this. Okay, so I picked a bunch of different colors of t-shirt and everything for you guys. This is the super soft t-shirts. It's the same as the ones that I already had on the previous merch. I like them. They're very soft and very comfy. And anyone that is a heather color, hold on, let me see if I can find one. Did I pick any other ones here? Okay, this is a heather. The heather colors are darker than they appear on the website, but the heather colors are also, they're softer and they're lighter, just to let you guys know. So that's for the resting witch face one there. And then we have the karma one here, and it's saying, do you feel like karma's watching you? So I thought that was a cute little shirt that we could make. Oh yeah, and with the collection too. So the t-shirt is basic one. The sweatshirt has a eye on the back too. I wanted it to kind of like be on the shoulder blades, you know? So it's a little bit more expensive, but if you guys really want one of these sweatshirts without an eye on the back, I can set up like another link for that if that's something that people really want. So it is an option as well. There's mugs, plastic tumbler, this kind of tumbler. Oh, I forgot to put in this here too. I got to update this. So the die cut stickers are just normal stickers. The decals are ones where you put it on and there's like a piece of plastic over it. Then you rip the plastic off and it leaves like a very flat image, and if you wanted to remove it, for example, you'd have to use a scraper. Like these are the ones that you want to use in like a car or like a window or something. It's very, very like more permanent. So I do need to update that to tell you guys the difference between these two. I threw like a tote bag in there, and I don't know, a canvas print, a pillow. I just threw some extra stuff in there. I know the stickers do well. Dust was also saying to throw the tumblers up, and I know like the shirts and stuff obviously do well as well. Okay, and then so these two designs, the Karma one and the Witch one, are going to be staying up for a while. What's coming next is we're getting hand-drawn designs from Douglas. There's two designs coming, and one of them is for Miss Kitty, and we'll leave that up as like a memorial kind of design for Miss Kitty. But he's also making another design as well that's very fitting for some of the dumb stuff that me and him have had to deal with lately. But I'm doing a special drop coming soon. Probably I'll give it like a few days or something. I just wanted to sort of do a limited time. This is in Dust's honor, calling it hate merch, because that's what Dust calls his merch, is hate merch. So I'm doing this as like a very limited drop. I'll put it up in like maybe like 3 days or something. I just kind of wanted to keep it separate because it's a bit of a joke, and you know, it's a bit of a like lark on it. So it is coming soon, and that'll be up in like a few days, and you can kind of get the idea of there's a circus dealio going on here. So that'll stay up for like a limited amount of time, because I don't want to just like leave hate merch up on my site the whole time. So it's like a limited drop is like a silly thing. Yeah. Okay. So that is the merch. And if there's anything that you guys have questions on, or anything that you guys like want, you're like, oh, do they do this item, or if there's like a special item that you're looking for, just let me know what it is, because they have like a ton of stuff that I can turn into merch. I just sort of picked a few so it's not too overwhelming. I probably picked too many anyway. So do I wait and order together or now? Yeah, I mean, that's the thing. I can put up the hate merch, and like we'll give it like 2 days or something. I just kind of wanted to like make sure people understood that it's like a joke, and it's separate, and it's like what do you call it? Like it's just a bit of a lark. Like it's not going to stay up for very long, kind of thing. So I can put it up in like a couple days. So if you want to wait on it as well. I could also do that too. Actually, yeah, even, you know what I'll do too? I think I set up a, hold on, how do I open a new, hold on, let me just double check something. I could put it up tomorrow. I just wanted to make sure people understood that it was separate. That was my main thing. I just wanted to like make sure that was clear. And hold on, let me actually update this members code as well. I'll leave the members code up with no limited usage kind of thing for members. Oh, I got update. Right. And then YouTube, the currency exchange updated on YouTube. So it's just like they changed the pricing of their memberships. And so I'm going to rework the memberships. I'm going to fill them. I'm going to write out the details a little bit more. And then I'm going to add like 2 more membership packages. One that's like as low as I can possibly go, because I wanted to do like a low Patreon kind of matching thing. And then I was going to do like a high membership for just people that really, really want to support just cause. I was just going to add those 2. So you'll see some more membership stuff pop up as well. And I'm going to try to make Patreon match it as well. What I'll probably end up doing, what I'll probably do at the Patreon, I'll probably end up like doing like 3 tiers, and there's probably gonna be 4 left on YouTube. Just because it's like weird. I can't sort of change. It's weird how YouTube does it. Anyway. All right. So I don't think I can change the pricing again, because it made me change the pricing. And I think I can only change the pricing of the memberships like once a year or something. And I didn't really think it through when I was changing the pricing. And so I may have done things too quickly. So I'm going to add like I should have made the base membership the cheapest as possible, and that's my bad. So I'm going to add a separate one. I'm sorry, guys. I know this is confusing. I'm going to see if I can change it. It probably won't let me because it did warn me and I was not thinking it through at the time. I'll see. Because I think the cheapest it lets me go is $1.99, and I think my cheapest one on YouTube is $2.99. So yeah, we'll see. Yeah, boo. I mean, who? Yeah. Middle school. Yeah. Like, I think you think too much into it. Ain't that deep, Dust. Okay, yeah, you're a troll channel, all right? I'm trolling a little bit, but my channel's not really to troll. Your channel is to troll, okay? So I just want to make sure people recognize that it's like a separate drop that's very limited. I'll just put up tomorrow. We'll just do like a 24-hour thing, all right? We'll just get up tomorrow and then whatever. I can hold on, actually, let me see. I could do, I think I can even update that page. One sec. Let me just update the page. I'll just update the page to say edit. Will drop on Monday. We'll do that. All right. Oh crap, my mouse got all weird. Accidentally hit the thing. Actually, no, wait, hold on. Let's do here. Coming Monday. Let's do that. There we go. All right, we'll do it like that. Okay, so I just updated the hate merch page here. It should update in a second, I think. Sir. Okay, well, now it's being dumb. What are you doing? I guess it's gonna take a minute. I don't know. It is updated, so it's being weird. Coming Monday. Yeah, it should be updating. There we go. Coming Monday. Okay. Well, I'll link it tomorrow, and then I'm gonna only leave it up for like a limited time. And then I'll leave the other stuff up until Douglas kind of gets his designs done. There's some stuff I wanted to put up for Halloween as well, so we'll see how that goes. Hey, Rudy. Okay, so we're going to take a look at Stevie and Joan's video, but first, I came across this video. I have no idea if this is AI, but I really liked this video, and I wanted us to watch it together because it's cute. Right, so let me tell me how the levels are on this, though.
Human history, cats were irrelevant, not dangerous, not useful. For most of human history, cats were irrelevant.
Is that too loud or too quiet? Let me know, and then I'll adjust it. Because I'm going to make you guys watch this with me because I thought it was actually a really, really kind of cool video. I talked about cats. And I know the chat's always like a few minutes behind, so now I have to wait for you guys to answer. The chat's not moving. Is it stuck? Oh my God. Okay, now it's moving. It's perfect. Okay. All right, cool.
For most of human history, cats were irrelevant. Not dangerous, not useful, not interesting. Just small predators hunting mice in the dark, completely indifferent to human existence. And yet somehow, out of all the animals humans could have domesticated, cats ended up everywhere.
There are more than 600 million domestic cats on Earth today. They sleep on our laptops, knock glasses off tables for no reason, stare at walls at 3 a.m., and receive more internet attention than any other creature in recorded history. But here's the thing. Humans never actually domesticated cats. Not really. Cats domesticated themselves, and we barely noticed it was happening. To understand how this worked, you have to go back about 10,000 years to one of the most transformative moments in human history, farming. Before agriculture, humans moved constantly. Hunter-gatherers couldn't stockpile food because they were always moving to find more of it. But when humans figured out how to grow grain and stay in one place, everything changed. For the first time in history, humans had something they had never had before: surplus, stored food. Piles of grain sitting in clay jars and wooden containers, waiting out the winter or the dry season. And that surplus immediately attracted something: rodents. Mice and rats flooded every human settlement that stored grain. They were relentless, destructive, and almost impossible to stop. A single pair of mice can produce hundreds of offspring in a year. They contaminated food, spread disease, and ate through months of carefully stored harvest in a matter of weeks. For early farming communities, a rodent infestation wasn't just an inconvenience, it was a matter of survival.
Then, quietly, cats started appearing at the edges of villages. Not because humans invited them, not because anyone had a plan, but because where there were rodents, there was food. And wildcats were very good at finding food. The wildcat that gave rise to domestic cats, Felis sylvestris libica, was a small, solitary predator from the Middle East and North Africa. Fierce, independent, and deeply suspicious of anything larger than itself. These were not cuddly animals. They were efficient killing machines that happened to be roughly the size of a large loaf of bread. But unlike wolves, which had to overcome an enormous behavioral gap to approach humans, wildcats had one crucial advantage: they were already in the right place. The same ecosystems that humans began farming in were also home to these wildcats. And grain storage created an artificial prey concentration that no wildcat could ignore. Mice gathered near human food. Cats gathered near mice. Humans noticed that the cats were killing the mice, and nobody chased the cats away. That's it. That was the entire beginning of the relationship. No breeding program, no selection, no intentional domestication. Just mutual tolerance in the shadow of a grain store.
But something interesting happened next. Just like with wolves, the wildcats that survived best near humans weren't the most aggressive ones. They were the slightly less terrified ones. The ones that didn't bolt the moment a human looked in their direction. The ones that could sit a little closer to the firelight without panicking. Those cats got more access to the mice that gathered near stored food. They ate better, survived longer, and had more offspring. And their offspring inherited that slightly reduced fear. Over generations, something gradual and invisible was happening. The wildcats living near human settlements were being shaped by proximity to humans. Not intentionally, not consciously, just by the slow pressure of survival. The cats that tolerated humans thrived. The cats that didn't. And here is where cats diverged from almost every other domesticated animal. Dogs were bred, horses were bred, cattle, sheep, goats, all were actively selected and shaped by humans over thousands of years. Cats selected themselves. For most of their domestication history, cats bred with whoever they wanted. Humans weren't choosing which cats reproduced, cats were. Which is why, even today, the domestic cat is genetically almost identical to its wild ancestor. If you took a domestic cat and released it in North Africa, it would survive. It would hunt. It would be, in almost every meaningful way, a wildcat that happens to also enjoy sitting on warm laptops.
So, when did humans start actually caring about cats? Egypt. Around 4,000 years ago, cats moved from tolerated pest control to something else entirely. Egyptian art from this period shows cats sitting under chairs, wearing collars, eating from bowls, and being treated as members of households. The Egyptians didn't just like cats, they elevated them to the sacred. The goddess Bastet was depicted as a cat, and labor as a woman with a cat's head. Killing a cat in ancient Egypt, even accidentally, could result in execution. When a household cat died, Egyptian families shaved their eyebrows as a sign of mourning. Cats were mummified by the millions. Entire cat cemeteries were filled with carefully preserved bodies, offerings to Bastet preserved for eternity. This was not the behavior of a society that viewed cats as pest control. This was worship. But why Egypt? Part of the answer might be scale. Egypt's agricultural surpluses were enormous. The Nile Valley produced grain on a scale that attracted rodents in massive numbers, which meant cats that controlled those rodents provided enormous value.
A civilization that depended on stored grain for survival had every reason to protect and celebrate the animal that protected that grain. And cats were smart enough to understand the opportunity. Egyptian paintings show cats sitting calmly in the middle of busy households, comfortable, well fed, treated with care. These were not wild animals tolerating humans at a distance. These were cats that had discovered something remarkable. Humans were useful. Humans provided warmth, food, and safety. And all you had to do was let them occasionally touch you. The deal was extraordinary from the cat's perspective. But the Egyptian relationship with cats had a strange consequence. Because cats were sacred, exporting them was technically illegal. The Egyptian government actually ran operations to retrieve cats that had been smuggled out of the country. But cats spread anyway. Phoenician traders almost certainly carried cats on their ships because ships carrying grain also attracted rats, and cats were the most effective solution. Greek and Roman traders followed. Cats spread across Europe, into Asia, eventually across the entire connected world. Everywhere grain was stored and traded, cats appeared. They crossed oceans in ships not because anyone decided to bring them, but because the same logic that had always driven their proximity to humans still applied. Where there is food, there are rodents. Where there are rodents, there are cats. The Black Plague devastated medieval Europe, killing somewhere between 30 and 60% of the population. One factor that is often overlooked is what happened to cats in medieval Europe. The Catholic Church, in certain periods and regions, associated cats with paganism and witchcraft. Cats, particularly black cats, were persecuted. Populations declined in some areas, and rodent populations, predictably, grew. Fleas on those rodents carried disease. The connection is not certain, but it is suggestive. The animal that humans had accidentally cultivated as a pest controller for 10,000 years was being eliminated, and the pests came back. Today, the relationship between cats and humans is one of the strangest in the animal kingdom. Dogs actively seek human approval. Cats don't. Dogs were shaped to read human emotions, to track eye gaze, to understand pointing gestures. Cats largely were not. A dog that misbehaves often shows guilt. A cat that knocks something off a table watches it fall with the focused attention of a scientist conducting an experiment. And yet cats have found something dogs never quite managed. They have convinced humans to care for them without requiring the same level of behavioral adaptation that dogs went through. Cats are not domesticated in the way most animals are. They exist somewhere between wild and tame, between independent predator and household companion. They play by their own rules, maintain their own schedules, and somehow made this seem not like a flaw, but like a feature.
There is something worth pausing on in the middle of all this history. Somewhere in ancient Egypt, a child probably played with a kitten while their parents cooked nearby. The kitten bit the child and then immediately started purring and rubbing against them. The child probably laughed. The parents probably watched. And nobody in that moment was thinking about evolution or agriculture or the Nile or civilizations that hadn't been built yet. They were just watching a small animal be unexpectedly charming. Cats never asked to be our companions. They were solitary hunters, living perfectly well without us. But they noticed an opportunity, and they took it. And 10,000 years later, there are 600 million of them living in our homes. Tonight, your cat is probably ignoring you. It might be staring at a wall, sleeping on your face, or carrying out some private agenda you will never fully understand. But it chose to be near you, not out of need, not out of training, out of something that began thousands of years ago in a grain store at the edge of a village where a small, fierce wildcat decided that humans might be worth tolerating after all. And given everything that came next, that decision worked out rather well for both of you.
All right. I saw that video and I'm like, this is actually really fascinating. So like, I'm gonna play that for you guys. So yeah, I thought it was really interesting. I'm like, I didn't think about that. I was like, yeah, actually, because they did vilify cats and said that they were attached to witches. And then we had like the most devastating plague of the entire world, and it killed like a third of the human population. Which is like, when you think about that, you're like, oh wow. I mean, yeah, they probably played some kind of role in protecting people from the plague and stuff back in the day, right? So it's very fascinating. The other thing with Egypt too is it was common practice in Egypt for them to shave off all of their hair so that they didn't get lice, because the lice definitely also carry disease as well. And there's some kind of like desert lice or something I think I remember reading about. Um, Something like that. But yeah, they'd shave off everything, or they would sugar their hair, which sugaring is actually the best way to remove hair even today, because it prevents ingrown hairs from coming in. I find that fascinating, because sugaring is actually the best, safest method to remove your hair. And because it helps like it grow back softer and stuff too. And then for some reason we switched to waxing along the way, and it's like sugaring was invented tens of thousands of years ago by ancient Egypt, and it's like that is the most ultimate way to remove your hair. I don't know why we switched to waxing anyway. But yeah, it's just fascinating anyway. But I thought that video was cute. Okay, so now what we're gonna do is we're gonna take a look at this one. Oh good, you guys linked it together. Okay, cool. I'm gonna put your guys' channels in the chat. And it's gonna look all funky, of course. Okay, well, I don't know. Whatever, it's not giving me. Okay, that one is Stevi. It's giving me the code instead of your username. And that second one is Joan there. So Stevie's Truth or Demon podcast, and Joan is Ladies Fright. So definitely go check out their channels. And the video, you'll find it on Stevie's Truth or Demon podcast in her video section, and it's linked to Ladies Fright, so it'll like show up in Ladies Fright's algorithm for her fans. Okay, so we're gonna revisit this story. This is the story of what happened between Joe, the sex offender, coming after Stevi, and all the situations and issues that she dealt with that. We're revisiting it just because it's been like, what, 2 years or something now? 2 years, I think. And just, I think along the way, some people have forgotten parts of the story, but also there's people that are new to the community who maybe don't understand what is this story. So we're refreshing it. And I just wanted to get it out in front of more eyes as well on my channel, to just help, spread the word about it, right? Also, we've had some creators too that made videos on Lindley Street. So the whole thing with this Joe guy, he says that he grew up with Marcia on Lindley Street, the Lindley Street haunting that the Warrens were like slightly involved in. He says that he grew up with her and was always at her house. And oh, thank you, Kiwi, for the gift. Stay hydrated for 550 joules. Oh, thank you. Thank you for the jewels. Cool. So he's saying that he was like there every day, that he was pretty much living in their house. And Stevie has talked to people and neighbors that were still alive from that time, and they're like, there was no Joe. There was no little Joey. He calls it a little Joey. There was no kid hanging around there. As well, there was an author that wrote a book, and well, I don't agree with he's a little too woo-woo for me, but he did a lot of research and he dug up like lots of stuff. Oh, thank you, Ken. Staying hydrated. Thank you for the jewels as well. So he did a lot of research. He pulled all the police tapes. He did FOIAs. He found old journals. He pulled all the newspaper articles. Like, dude did his research, okay? So there was no mention of a Joe or Joey, a little kid Joe around her. So like we've debunked it pretty much with like, Joe assumed that since the family was dead and since Marcia died, that no one would fight him on this. But he doesn't realize that there's people that have done their research on this case. And anything that Joe talks about the details of back then, people are like, well, why does he know the details? It's like, well, then he read the books. Like, there's lots of books out there people have written on this thing. So the turtle's cute, but you've been better if it was a cat. Would have been better if it was a cat. Wait, what? What turtle? I'm confused. Yeah, well, and that's the thing. So right before I started for the heat wave, right before I started streaming, I heard the thunder coming, because we haven't gotten the rain that everyone else has gotten. It keeps like going under us, and it's like, are we getting the rain? Are we not getting the rain? It's not as hot as it was, but it's not cool out. it's going to start cooling off because it's about 8 o'clock. So it'll start cooling off here pretty soon because it gets a little bit cooler overnight. But I thought that the thunderstorm was going to come in because I started hearing it, and then now there's nothing. So there's always a chance that we may get a random thunderstorm during this whole stream. I forgot to mention that. All right, so we're going to take a look at this video here, and I just wanted to kind of like react to it and talk about it a little bit because I do think that it is an important story to discuss. Okay, now hold on, let me just adjust this. Yeah. Since we're going to go full screen, let me just fix my window. Hold on. There we go. Sorry, I have like all my tabs hidden because I'm in the middle of like working on a video and there's like so many tabs open right now. Oh man. Thank you, Rash. Like thousands of people were outside. Joe possibly could have been outside. Yeah, I mean, but that's I know you're making a joke. Hey, T-Vex, thank you for the rose, 30 jewels. Yeah, and make sure you hit the like button. Yes, it does help. Yeah. Yeah, there's no evidence that he was inside the house too. Like, yeah, it's so silly. I think that he just assumed that since they were all dead, no one would ask questions. I don't know what he was thinking. I really don't know what he's thinking. All right. So let's play this and let's test the sound.
To be a little different than normal. I will be joined by Joan of Ladies Fright, and we will be clarifying some recent events in the community.
How does that sound to you guys? Too low, too high? I can adjust it. Like, I can, like, fine-tune it. So let me know if it's too low or too high. Now I wait for the response. This is always what happens. Because even though, like, my OBS tells me the levels, it's really not an accurate representation. I really do need an ear to hear it. Which is why I'm doing that weird recording thing that I'm doing. So sometimes you guys got to remind me. Too low? Okay. Let me pump it back up.
I will be joined by Joan of Ladies Fright, and we will be clarifying some recent events in the community for better context.
How is that now?
Hello, everyone. Welcome back to Truth or Demons. Today's episode is going to be a little different than normal.
Kat, thank you for the 10 jewels. Does the video get louder? The video might get louder. Okay.
I will be joined by Joan of Ladies Fright, and we will be clarifying some recent events in the community for better context. We think it's important that all...
Oh yeah, and then just be aware, obviously trigger warnings. This does include discussing this man he's a registered sex offender, so we're going to be touching on what he did.
All the info be made clear and reiterated a bit because some things have been lost in time.
Okay, I'll wait for
and
Steve
understandably
to finish
so.
talking.
But before we begin, I'd like to give a few trigger warnings for stalking, harassment, sexual exploitation, sexual assault of a minor, and violence. Please protect your hearts moving forward. One more thing before we start. I do not normally monetize this type of content, but Joan and I both agree we'd like to help with this video, and any money from this video will go to the organization RAIN. RAIN is the nation's largest anti-sexual violence organization. Its core mission is to stop sexual violence, support survivors, hold perpetrators accountable, and create safer communities. If you find yourself in need, please do not hesitate to call the number on the screen, 1-800-656-4673, or you can visit their website to live chat with someone. Okay, let's begin.
Hello, my name is Joan. I do the podcast Lady.
Okay, how does Joan sound there? Also, if you're going to donate, if you want to donate to the fundraiser, that's the video directly. It's got the fundraiser linked. Okay, well, whatever. Jump scare, you're going to see all my tabs. Where is it? Or did you guys link it? Oh, you guys didn't use the linking inside? Oh, okay. I have to help you. I'll help you set that up, I think. Hold on. I don't think that you guys did, right? Or is it demonetized? I think the video might be demonetized. I don't know. You might have ads turned off on it. I don't know. It doesn't have the little donate button on it, so I'm not too sure. We'll figure it out. How did Joan sound there?
Ladies Fright, and my name is Joan. I do the podcast Ladies Fright, and I'm here today.
Yes, Joan sounds like Joan. Is she loud enough for you guys? I can turn her up if she's not loud enough. Yeah, no worries, Stevie. I was just going to say if you guys wanted to donate to Rain within the video, because then it sends like a lump sum to them. But otherwise, you can just go to their website and donate too. So, and like a bunch of my videos, like if you were like the Andrew Tate one, you could even like join my fundraiser too if it makes it easier for you, Stevie. If you just search like Florio, I should have a couple Rain fundraisers because I have it on like Andrew Tate video and some other videos as well. Does that sound okay? Like the actual audio, I mean. I'm always too loud. Oh my gosh. All right. Are you too, is this too loud? Is Joan too loud? Okay, I'm going to play it and let me know if you want me to turn anything up or down.
With Stevie from Truth or Demons, and we're going to go over a story that has gone way past a year at this point, and I believe some of the details are getting lost to time, and I think this is an important reminder of that. Let's start with the subject of today's matter. Who is Joe Landry?
Right. A lot of people are, I think, confused about who Joe is because of where he pops up in comments and where he decides to engage. Joe is originally, before we talk about anything about Joe, he came from NESPR, the New England Society for Psychic Research, which was run by Tony Spira at the time of Joe Saga's commencement. Tony was in charge, and Tony said he found someone that had a story that no one had ever heard before. And Tony decided to platform this man and tell his story, which was actually someone else's story. It was a warrants case, but it was not a warrants case in the sense that they had any rights to it. They were essentially fired. Some people say they were fired. Some people say they were ran off for whatever reason. They made illegal phone calls on the Goodins phone, racked up a phone bill, they were sent away. This story is the Lindley Street poltergeist story. There was a little girl named Marcia who was around 9 or 10 that suffered poltergeist occurrences.
And isn't it like, Stevie, every time like Joe has tried to tell the story, doesn't he call her like Marsha or something like that? Like that, and that wasn't even her name. I vaguely remember something like that. Like he calls her by like the wrong name, trying to act like it's a nickname that only he knows or something. I swear it was Joe that was doing that. It might have been someone else, but I thought it was Joe that was doing that.
So Nesper comes along and says they have someone with a tie to them.
Also, I am curious where Nesper found him or if he found them. Like, did he do the TikTok and Tony reached out to him? Yeah, he calls her Mercy. Yeah, and nobody calls her Mercy. Her name's Marcia. Like, it's kind of weird. Yeah. It's like he's trying to do that, I think, to make it sound like he knew her nickname that no one else knew, and therefore he's truthful. Like, it feels very manipulative. I'm just like, there's no record of anyone calling her that. He calls her Mercy instead of Marcia. Yeah, and that's not correct at all. I don't know who reached out to who. Yeah, like I wouldn't be surprised if maybe that TikTok, maybe Tony saw it, but then I also wouldn't be surprised, and this is just a theory. This is me. Okay, I'm gonna put on my like little tinfoil hat conspiracy theory. What if Tony just found some dude who was willing to lie so that they could get a movie deal? Because, you know, the Warrens stuff, they sold their life rights to, who is it, New Line Cinema or whoever the heck it is that owns the Conjuring stuff. they sold their life rights to them. So Tony can't make any new deals that involve Ed and Lorraine, right? Unless it's like a story and you make a deal with the person who was there. So like they need a person who is there in order to sell their life rights for a new movie. And it would have to sort of be a movie kind of focused around that sort of person, right? Like I could just see Tony doing that because he just seems like, honestly, if you could easily be put in the middle of an anime as like the evil antagonist, right? Like if he just comes across as like an evil evil like cartoon mastermind, you know what I mean? Like Skeletor or something. I don't even know. Just thinking of He-Man, I don't know. I always felt like Joe was injecting himself into the story. Yeah, he was. Yeah, it was so weird. At least the Fire Doll and the Mirror aren't PDF files, I guess. God. Like, I just wouldn't be surprised if Tony did mastermind it because it feels like a Tony plan and it kind of fell apart like a Tony plan. But you would think, because Tony is an ex-cop, you would think that he would have done a background check. So then, like, I feel like, yeah, there was a popular TikTok. I feel like the reality probably what happened is that guy probably did a TikTok hoping, because he didn't do a TikTok calling out to Tony. He did a TikTok calling out to the director. And he was like, don't end the Conjuring series. I still have a story to tell. And it got pretty popular. I think it was like a few 100,000 views or something like that. So I wouldn't be surprised if someone told Tony about that TikTok and then he got in touch with him from there. Yeah. And essentially when Stevi saw him telling the story, she was like, who is this guy? There's no record of this little Joey hanging around. And she just did an image. She might explain this here. She did a Google image search of the guy that was on like Tony's live, the Joe guy. And she found him in the same freaking shirt that he was wearing in his picture that's in the friggin' sex offender registry. Like, he's wearing the same damn shirt, which also helps find him easier. Like, if you wear the same clothing when you do a Google image like search for somebody, and if you wear the same clothing, the clothing especially, if there's any logo or anything, it actually helps you find the person better. So, like, a little tip, I guess, to the criminals. Don't wear the same shirt that you wore in your friggin'... Yeah, he was wearing the same shirt. It actually does help Google find the image better for you if you wear a shirt with the same logo. So, like, he's dumb. Yeah, the shirt thing's funny to me. I'm just like, what an idiot.
That story. And they platform this man and they call him Joe King. And they say this man's name has been changed.
And Joe King. And this is where I'm like, okay, is Tony fucking with us? Because joking, like Joe King, joking. I'm like, this where it kind of feels like a troll at the same time. So it's so weird. Or is Joe trolling us? He only has one nice shirt. Maybe that might be the case. Yeah. Yeah, he's a former cop and he didn't at all vet the person or even Google them or anything. Joe only has 2 shirts. Yeah. That's probably the problem. Yeah.
Or they say people in the story's names have been changed for privacy, but they only changed his name. Everyone else's name they kept the same. So we had no information to go on. Yeah. Just this man claiming to be a part of this alleged poltergeist incident that happened over the course of 3 days. So this man claims he was 7 years old during this incident, and that the Goodins, who are the parents of Marcia, the little girl that this all happened to, babysat him. He goes on to tell his story. He even says ridiculous things like Marcia abused him, which really frustrated me.
Oh, I remember that too. That's really annoying that he was doing that too. All right, hold on. I gotta like adjust this freaking chair. He was trying to say that like Marcia was hitting him and abusing him and torturing him and doing all, like, that's some weird messed up shit, man. Tony said we never background checked anyone before. Maybe we will now. You think, Tony? Jesus, man. Evening from the UK, folks. Evening. I know it's late for you guys. And oh, well, no, wait, that was the members post. So not everyone saw it, but I'm going to be concentrating energy into just working. Sorry, I forgot to add this at the beginning because I forgot this was only in the members only post. I'm going to be concentrating on putting my energy into what works for my schedule, what works for this channel, what works for the community on this channel. We're going to foster the community on this channel because I really do want to separate from the debunking community. As many of you all know, the stupidity going on lately. So I do apologize. I'm probably not going to be trying to fit into the UK schedule anymore because it's harder for me to accomplish because it always end up like really last minute, like rushing into a stream. Because like I'm just going to do things based on what works best for me. So I do apologize for the UK people that it is late. I know like Cass and Alessio said that he would check out the stream later too. I'm sorry, I'm not going to be doing like earlier streams anymore. And it's not like picking on you guys. It's just like I was going out of my way to try and do earlier streams to like sort of work with the debunking community schedule. But it's a lot harder on me to do earlier. It's easier for me to do later. Also, I'm in less pain usually later at night. Usually during the day I'm in more pain, and the fibro feels like you have the flu all the time. So like the daytime, I usually am like, I know it's gross. It feels like I have the flu. I'm like sweaty. I'm like the stomach is upset every day. So it's just like doing stuff during the daytime is really, it's really annoying and difficult. Nighttime I feel better. So it kind of works a little bit better for me to sort of do this evening. So it's okay. Here in the UK, it's always dull. Most of us are nocturnal. Yeah, I mean, and that's the thing. I'm more nocturnal too. So me doing stuff during the day is actually like a lot more difficult for me to stick with. So, but yeah, I forgot. I only put that in the members post, but we're going to move forward with this community. I'm going to foster this, and I want to start working on stuff with the Patreon and get back into this and not worrying about looking at the other parts of the community. So yes. All right. Sorry. Side tangent.
Because she was an abused child. She was abused by the kids in her school. So for him to say that really had my blood boiling, so I went on a mission to find him. And it didn't take long because as soon as I screenshot his face and put it in reverse Google image search, it brought up his criminal history, which is very, very bad.
Yeah.
So Joe's report, his criminal report that I was presented with upon putting his image into the Google search image option, showed me
Joe, he said he watched his mother be assaulted by a group of bikers and he called them bikies. Okay, Stevie just wrote that. What? Like, I don't know. Well, I don't know where you guys are. Okay, so like bikers are like pretty big, I guess, around like Ontario and Quebec. They're like the mob around here. So I always like often live beside bikers. So it's just kind of weird because, well, I don't know, maybe in the States are different. See, here they're very respectful. They are very much like the mob. They don't want to bring heat to themselves. They would never actually hurt a woman like that. They're actually very respectful men. They're very, very caring. They do their crime stuff, but for the everyday civilians, they go out of their way, above and beyond. They donate their time, their money, like they do a ton to give back to the community. Yes, they're dealing drugs, but they are nice people in the end too. So like wherever you stand on that. Personally, they helped us a lot when we were living beside them. They would like fix our car. They would like do a bunch of stuff for me and my mom. So my mom was like a single mom, right? So, but I would never heard them called bikies before. That's weird. And two, the assaulting thing, that's kind of strange. Although he said that she was like a drug addict, right? I don't know. Like, is he just confusing something that happened to her? Maybe at like I don't know what kind of drugs that she was into, but might have been a bad place that she was hanging around. Yeah. It depends on the group. Yeah, it probably does. Like I was saying, I'm going by the ones that are really big around here, the Hells Angels. That's the ones I always grew up with. But there was another one that was, sometimes we would run into them. They were Devil something. I can't remember what the name was. Devil. But the Hells Angels, they were always around. They're still around. They actually were like more prevalent in this city back in the day. One bar, it would just be all that. Sorry, this is a side tangent. I know I do a lot of this, but yeah, and they definitely deal a lot of drugs, but that's mainly their money source. But to the everyday people, like they don't want to bring heat on them, so they're very nice and good to the community, and the community kind of sticks up for them too. Because honestly, back in the day, like they were dealing like weed and stuff, I mean, maybe some coke, but nowadays it's kind of like, yeah, now we're looking at the fentanyl crisis. That's a whole different ball game. I don't know how involved the bikers are in that, but that one's rough because yeah. But back in the day, it was like, I'm talking when I was young, so it was like mainly weed and shrooms and stuff. So yeah, you have videos of me? Okay, yeah, send it to me, Joan. Yeah. According to Joe, his mom knew Laura Gooden. I just don't see that being a thing because when you look at and Laura Gooden is the mom, right, of Marcia. At least, well, it's the Gooden family, so I assume that's the mom that you're mentioning. And when you look at the family, like they were very straight arrow. They were like trad wife, trad husband, like 1940s, 1950s kind of couple. They weren't like partying. They weren't like they were very straight arrow. So I just don't really see them hanging around Joe's mom, who was apparently like a pretty big drug addict. And wasn't he saying something that like she also was selling her body, or am I misremembering? I can't remember. Don't quote me on that. But I just don't see them hanging around with biker people. I don't see them hanging around with his mom, who I'm pretty sure I remember him saying like that she was really drugged up all the time, and that's why she kept leaving him at their house, because his mom would disappear for days at a time on a bender, which does, yeah, that probably happened to him, but he wasn't at their house. Which is the thing, if he was living at their house like that, because he did say that, so like, why doesn't anyone remember him? You know what I mean? Joel said his mom had him when she was 13. Oh yeah, that's right. And his dad was 19. And yeah, he said that, and then to the bikers. It doesn't make sense. It doesn't make sense. And like, it might make sense if the mom, Laura Gooden, took pity on a kid whose mom was that bit of, like, I could see her doing that, taking pity on a boy and taking him in, not because she was friends with her, but because she felt bad for the little kid, because Laura did love children, right? But if that was the case, the neighbors would remember him. Like, he'd be living at their house, because he said he was practically living at their house. So, you know, bikies is a term used a lot in Australia and New Zealand. Oh, really? That's interesting. Their neighbor was a cop too. Yes, you're right. Yeah, so like, if that kid, if there's a boy being neglected like that, that cop neighbor actually would have just stepped in and taken him into the child protective, what do you call them? Oh my god, I forgot the name of it. It just escaped me. Whatever, that, the people that put kids in a foster home and stuff. He definitely would have. So it's an Australian term. That's curious, because now I wonder, like, who is he surrounding himself with that is from Australia and New Zealand, that he would use that word instead. Like, did he grow up there? He doesn't have a accent though. Either way, don't trust him. Yeah.
He is his image into the Google search image option. Showed me he is a criminal sex offender of a minor under 14. This did happen in 1997, and per Tony Spira, that was a long time ago. But in my opinion, and in a lot of other people's opinions, time isn't a factor in this. The crime was still committed and is still a heinous crime. We don't get forgiveness over time for something like that. Not to mention, his rap sheet is extensive. That is not.
Oh yeah, I forgot. Yes, CPS, Childhood Protective Services. Yeah, Child Protective Services. So it's not just this of a girl. This one is the most heinous, but I believe that we dug up ones for DV, like he assaulted his partners and stuff, and then there's just like general assault ones. I think there was some, like, wasn't there some theft things? Because I think I remember saying like this is probably a grift, because he's sort of like seems like a career criminal in a sense. Yeah, the stories don't match up at all. No. Yeah, it's not like running a stop sign. No, and this is the thing. Like, so Vic, Destination Spooky, he did some post or something, I don't know, a few weeks back, And then Joe Landry popped up and he's like, "Oh, are you guys going to keep punishing me for something?" Or he said something along the lines of, "You're using what I did as a cage. You're jailing me for something that I did years ago." And it's like, yeah, because people who assault children don't go to jail for long enough. So that Megan's Law is like the best solution, considering that they don't want to give these people more time. Megan's Law, it follows you around for the rest of your life. You're on a registry list. You do not get privacy. You are not entitled to privacy. Everything can be searched at a moment's notice from a cop, a parole officer, whoever. They don't have to give you any sort of notice. And yes, it follows you around for the rest of your life because you did a heinous thing. You destroyed that, to Joe. You destroyed that girl's life. Like, when you're assaulted like that, it messes you up for the rest of your life as a woman, because I've been through it. Other people I know have been through it. And if it was when I was younger than 14 and it was done by an adult like that, I would have been way more messed up. Like, you've ruined a whole person's entire life. So yes, we're going to keep bringing it up, Joe. And yes, it's going to follow you around. And no, you're not entitled to the same privacy rights as everyone else because you did this heinous act. And that is the reality of it. Yeah, his criminal history: DV, cyber stalking, assault on an officer. Oh yeah, there you go. Assault with a machete against his neighbor. Yeah, he's not a good person. Not a good person. Yeah, and then he's like, Vic says he wanted sympathy because I only did it once 30 years ago. That's not the point. Like, you don't get sympathy for that. You don't get forgiven for that. Like, no. Megan's Law, like, thank God it does exist, because otherwise people would just keep getting away with this stuff over and over again. Like, it's horrendous. And there was something I watched the other day. I gotta dig it up. There's a state there's a state in the United States that still follows this like old law that apparently if you like assault someone for 6 months or less and then you go turn yourself in or something, they don't give you a record. There's like this weird, I gotta find this video I watched. I'm like, wow. And it's like Alabama or West Virginia or somewhere, like, a state that struggles with things. Actually, no, wait, I think it was Tennessee. Right. No, it was Tennessee. Stevie, I gotta find that video. I gotta find this video. I remember watching it going, holy crap. So there's a bunch of men getting away with assaulting minors because there's this weird old law that if they like only do it for 6 months or less, that they don't get charged as long as they turn themselves in. And when they turn themselves in, they only have to do like 24 hours in jail. It's like this weird law. And I'm like, this is crazy. But yeah, I think it was Tennessee. That I have to try to find it. Yeah. Oh yeah, and then he brags about his time in prison. Yeah, and I'm surprised that he even lasted in prison, to be honest. So sorry, we're only 4 minutes in, but yeah. Yeah, I gotta find what I was watching. I was watching some like true crime thing, and they were bringing up this whole thing, and I'm like, wow, that is totally messed up that this state does this. I was like, what the fuck? So yeah, I'll have to look through the videos and stuff I was watching.
Where it ends. Up until very recently, he has criminal charges, including cyberstalking. So that's another reason we're going to talk about this, because he's been in everyone's comments doxing me and clearly cyberstalking, because he did also say that he had a screenshot of a satellite image of my house that he was going to share.
Mm-hmm. And that leads me, well, before we do that, does he have any physical connection to Lindley Street? Was he even there?
That is a very important question, and no. As far as I can determine, I have spoken to 2 neighbors that were present at the time. They were children at the time, and they said there was never a little boy named Joey. They specifically said, which is also covered in the only book that was written about this case, Marcia was not allowed to play with other children. Her mother was a helicopter parent. She did not allow Marcia to be around other kids.
Right, yeah, and that's the other thing, because Marcia, the kids at school beat her up so bad that they like broke her back. And also she was abused and picked on. It was because she was indigenous, just because she wasn't white. So they like broke her back or did something like really bad to her back, as she was wearing a back brace. And so her mom like pulled her out of school and was doing homeschooling because she was worried for her safety. An adoptive mom here we're talking about. So she was shipped in from Canada. It was part of the whole like assimilating indigenous people into white culture. It is a mess. It's a mess. Whole lot of mess there. But we're talking, this is like an old story from like the 60s, I believe it was, the Lindley Street thing. But yeah, so like her mom wasn't allowing her to hang around with kids. Plus all the kids were hurting her. So like she wasn't going out of her way to hang out with them, especially boys that were stronger than her too, right? So like it just doesn't make any sense. Ken, Joe, you ruined victims' lives. You deserve to live out the rest of your life with whatever consequences brought on yourself. Deal with it, period. Exactly. Exactly. Like, you deserve to have this follow you around for the rest of your life because you've ruined a girl's life for the rest of her life, you know? Yeah, I know. And that's the thing, Kiwi. Kiwi says, I feel sorry for people living in the house that he thinks is Stevie's. I'm not sure, but I suspect what it is because he made this threat after, I think that any of you guys who watched Dust Live, those of you who didn't, there's been this like woman that's been like weirdly getting violent, harassing to Stevie in Facebook, like threatening to like physically harm her. And she posted this like satellite image and she's like, I know where you live. And it was like somewhere in New York, and Stevie's not in New York. So it's like, what? She's not in that state. So I kind of suspect, because Linda stalks us all. Linda is also the only woman that supports Joe and like is always going to bat for him. She's a pedo apologist. She's always like, oh, it was 30 years ago, get over it. It's like, how can you be a woman and support a man like that? Anyway, so I think that that's the satellite image that they have, but they don't realize that it's not Stevie's house. So that's the thing, is like, whoever's house that is, if they then start sharing it or doing stuff with it, is like, Stevie doesn't even live there, and I don't know who lives there, but they could start being harassed, right? Stevie says, I spoke to a woman named Kathy, who was a neighbor, and I spoke to Rosemary, who's mentioned in the book, as Marcia's only friend, simply because Marcia's parents were friends with Rosemary's parents. Yes, yeah, that's right. Yeah, like she had that one girl who was a friend of hers, yeah. Yeah, you seen the woman on Facebook. I know, this woman is insane. And then like, this woman's caring for her niece because her niece got taken away from the mom, and then the niece is harassing Stevie too and threatening her, and it's like, what the heck? Yeah, Kiwi, sorry. Yes, Kiwi says, does Stevie have multiple houses? Yeah, she's super rich.
And these two neighbors claimed there was no Joe ever. And then, of course, we have the author, William J. Hall, who wrote the book, The World's Most Haunted House.
That's the
And
author,
in that
yeah.
book, he interviews so many people, like countless people, over 20, I believe, who had direct connections to this case. None of them have heard of this quote unquote little Joey.
Thank you. So I know you went into a little bit, but where does your connection and Joey, like, where does that line up?
So, since I was the one to expose him, he became very upset with me. At first,
And sorry, just to back this up a little bit with the book.
quote unquote, little had direct connect people, like countless people. And
Okay, so William J. Hall, Stevie, I believe you interviewed him, right? Stevie was talking to him. She put me in touch with him because I did a video on Lindley Street, and I did a video as well interviewing Stevie about this whole disaster of a mess, right? So, William, he like messaged me back too. He was talking to me, and you know, he's very open to talk to people about his research. If you go to his Facebook page as well, you can see pictures of all the research, all the stuff that he's ordered. Oh, hey, KK. Welcome. You can see like everything, like he's got these tapes, he's got like files and pictures, like he has pictures, like all the stuff that he dug up for this book. So like you can see he's done the actual research and the work. So so yeah, you did interview him. Yeah. So Stevie has an interview on her page as well with him. I'm not sure if it's on the YouTube or if it's just on the Spotify. He also released his book again with more research printed in it. Oh, that's right. He was planning to do that at the time I was making my video. I remember him saying that. Like, he shows pictures of everything he has and everything he dug up, and he talks about all the people that he interviewed. Like, he does very thorough research. He's a bit woo-woo, and he goes off on, like, a weird path with it because he works with this guy who's, like, exorcist or, like, whatever. It's a little woo-woo, but he does his research while also being woo-woo. You can do both. Yeah. I thought serial killer groupies were gross, but little Joey groupies are on another level. I know it's weird. Women that back pedos is weird. Like, ugh, gross. Yeah, he had the original police report, the eyewitness accounts, things like that. And guess who isn't mentioned? Yeah, little Joey. He's not there. Yeah, exactly. If there was like all this police presence and this little kid that was there because he was being neglected because his mom was like off doing drugs and partying and stuff, I'm pretty sure that they would have had him in foster care pretty quickly. Um, oh, thank you, Mithril, for the £2. I can't afford much. You deserve something. Thank you so much. I appreciate it. It does mean a lot. Thank you, because I am saving up to pay back. Oh, I got the new chair too, guys. New chair. And now I need to get, what was the other thing I broke? Oh, God, it's escaping my mind right now. Something else broke that I need to get new. Oh, right, my bed. Oh, yeah, that's killing my back. Right. That broke like last year, and it's really bad. So it's on the next on the to-do list, and I gotta get my Botox done too.
And in that
Amongst
book,
other
he
things.
interviews so many people, like countless people, over 20, I believe, who had direct connections to this case. None of them have heard of this quote unquote little Joey.
Thank you. So I know you went into a little bit, but where does your connection and Joey, like, where does that line up?
So, since I was the one to expose him, he became very upset with me. At first, it was just a few minor threats. He did show up in my inbox saying that if I didn't pull my videos down that exposed him, he was going to expose me. And I had to do it. I had a timeline. He gave me till 6 p.m. that day. Well, unfortunately for me, I guess, I didn't see that email until after 6 p.m. and he did nothing. He claims he has some dirt on me, and that led me to believe that his quote unquote dirt that he had came from someone else, also claiming at the same exact time to have dirt on me. So that led to me having to talk about said dirt. That isn't really dirt, it was more of an experience that I went through and had to explain. And Joe is still, to this day, using that experience that I went through to threaten me via people's comment section to say that he is going to expose me and that I am a thief and that he has links to newspaper articles about me being a thief, which is false, which is.
And like, it's not just Joe, this Linda lady is also doing the same thing. Yeah. Oh, the car issues. Well, my car issues, I don't have a car anymore. That's not getting solved anytime soon. But yeah, I need a bed and Botox done. I get Botox for my migraines, by the way. It's not for beauty reasons. Yeah, the new chair is good. It's nice and comfy. I ended up going with this more expensive one because there's one that I saw because I like the idea of like being able to put the arms down and making it like a big like crisscross chair and everything. But it wasn't saying that there were springs in the chair, like the seat part. And it's like if you get a chair without springs in it, then it's just like memory foam, and that you sit in that for like 8 hours, there's nothing. It's like sitting on a rock, right? So I got this chair with the springs. So the first one I picked out was 200, and then I was kind of realizing that there wasn't any springs in the seat, and I looked up a little bit more and I was like, oh, this isn't like a proper seat, this is just a cushion. So I was like, okay. So I ended up picking this one for 300, and it's got adjustable armrests that go up and down, which is like perfect because that's what I had on my old chair when I worked in the office. I used to have like ergonomic setups because with the fibro, I get very hurt very quickly when I don't have an ergonomic setup. Like I'm still dealing with a shoulder issue from being without a chair for like a week. I get like I start going downhill real fast. I have a special mouse I have to use. I have to like be specially seated. Anyway, so the adjustable armrest really helped because before I had like these weird pads that I kind of wrapped around my arms so I could like lift them up a little bit more. So that's nice that these have adjustable. Anyway, side tangent. Oh, and I can push the arms out more too. Like I had to unscrew them to adjust them, but they can go out like a few inches and in a few inches and stuff. I had them out all the way, but then they were kind of like still too wide in, so I brought them in a bit. So it's like a nice big chair, and it's like a big and tall chair too, so the seat's like really big and stuff. I can technically still crisscross in it as well. Even like I could like move the arms out more, but I'm like I kind of like them in because if they're too out too far, then I tend to like do this. And when I do this, then I start slumping. So like, okay. Anyway, that's a side tangent, is that just point out that Linda is also doing the same thing. And you know what was really annoying? I can't remember where I saw this, but I remember like messaging it to you a few weeks ago or whatever. I said in the group chat, I was like, someone was saying, Stevie, why don't you tell your story first before they have a chance to? And it's like, oh yeah, I think that this is why we said like we should do this video again, because like Stevie did tell like the dirt that he has on her. She's going to tell it again here. But she did tell her story in the past before he like released it, you know, like, so it's just, it's all, it's a little weird. Yeah. KK, I can vouch, she's got all sorts of things to make it comfy and be able to work when medium levels and pain still. Yeah, I have like a lot of different stuff. So that because also I have the migraines too. So I have to have like a yellow filter on everything and like yellow light bulbs and stuff. It's like a whole thing. Yeah, fibro sucks. And I have like heating pads, which I need to get that other new one too, but that'll be later.
Also really funny because the link he has provided in the past is a link to a newspaper article about me, yes, but it's about my work in the costume industry, and it's kind of giving praise to my rise in the industry. So,
And you said that you're planning on putting that article up.
yes, I will share that for everyone to see. The link is no longer active. The link does not go anywhere anymore. The newspaper company that had it up took it down. And so I have a physical copy, and I will share it. I will share it on the screen, and I also put the link on the screen where you can see it's the Daily Camera in Colorado Springs. The link is still in existence. It is just not active.
Do you briefly want to remind people of what Joe is claiming that he has to exploit you?
Yes, I would, because I think it's getting lost. I did cover this, I think 2 years ago almost. It was October 2024, I think. So I imagine people have forgotten, which is totally fine. I don't expect everyone to hang on to this in their memory, but because they have forgotten, Joe is using that to, I think, what he thinks is his advantage and trying to take advantage of that, and repeatedly saying he has this dirt on me. So the dirt he thinks he has was an experience I went through, which prompted me to help the victims I helped of mendacity. That is where I told my story. It was during the mendacity series where I helped several people come forward with an experience they had with harassment within the paranormal community. I experienced some very severe harassment in the mermaid world. I was a costume designer, and a couple fellow costume designers decided that they didn't want me doing the costumes anymore. And they came after me and threatened me at first. There was a lot of online back and forth. There was a lot of name calling and threats, and a lot of threats. I was told to kill myself several times during that, and I was threatened with the fact that if I did not stop making my costumes, the person threatening me was going to expose some very sensitive images of me. Turns out he had hacked my Gmail account, which at the time was linked to my cell phone. And an unfortunate glitch in that phone was if you were to hack an email, you got access to the entire phone. So he got access to all my private images and shared them on a website that catered to things like that. At the time, porn revenge laws were not a thing. I had no leg to stand on. I called police. I filed reports. They told me bluntly, we can't help you. We've seen cases like this many times. You can take it to court. You can spend $8,000 plus on a federal lawyer because he's in another state. You're not going to win. So when this happened, I had to call police to my home. And at the time, I lived with family. And they came to my home. I had to fill out a report. I had to go into detail in front of my family what had happened for the police because they needed every detail. I also had to contact the people who were harassing me in front of the police and ask them to stop. And I had to show them everything that was going on. So my family was privy to all of this. And it was very traumatic because they were my naked images on the internet. I could not do anything about them. And with my naked images was my family's addresses and phone numbers and all the personal information. And after I went through all of this and I was told there was nothing they could do for me and they left, I was left with my family and their ridicule over why this happened to me. And they told me if I wasn't such a slut, this never would have happened. So not only did I have to deal with that harassment and that stress and being told that there was no help for me, my family also was not supportive of it because they were stressed too. And I understand. It was a lot to deal with having the police in your house, being told they can't help you, and essentially this is your fault. So I still get so upset over that. That was a bad day.
Yeah. Understandably, it's very scary. It also involves your family members who I'm sure were not asking for it, and there's a lot of guilt behind that along with fear. I think that's very understandable. And anytime you need to take a break, just like let me know and we can pause. So
Thank you. I appreciate that. It's just that part always gets me. It hurt my heart so much to have heard from police there's no help from me, but then at the same time, my family not even supporting me. So,
yeah. So it does sound like there was a lack of support. So you went to the police officer or police, there was not a lot they could do. You went to your family. There was not a lot you can do. I can imagine that feels very isolating.
yeah, and it lasted a while because at the time when those photos went up on that website, I contacted the website and I was like, hey, these are my photos. I did not give permission for them to be up here. Can you please take them down? They wrote back immediately and said, yeah, sure, we'll definitely take them down for $300. So for about a week, those photos and my family's information was on that website for anyone to see. It took me a day to change my phone number because of all the unsolicited dick pics that I got as a result. So that was also super fun.
Mhm.
And this is the story that Joe wants to expose for everyone to see how awful that I am because, oh yeah, and so it's all so much. And the thing that Joe thinks he has on me is the only thing that was left for the public after this happened to me. There was a forum that was left up in the costume community that was accusing me of theft. I had, once those photos had gone up, the open sales that I had pulled out, they got their money back from PayPal. And then I had several people join in to attack me and accuse me of theft. There are several stories that I've already proven are not true. I had an order log. None of the people that claim I stole from them were on my order log. So I did show that proof to the owner of the forum. They told me, even though I proved that I'm innocent, they cannot remove it because if they remove it, then they have to remove other people's complaint posts or whatever. So they couldn't give me special treatment, essentially.
Yeah, and this is what sucks too is like you have people who are spreading lies and rumors about you. And the people who initially started this rumor that Stevie stole, like, she was working on like a big, she takes like a payment, get the materials for these mermaid tails, because she did like the special mermaid tails no one else was doing at the time. They were like easier to wear, more realistic looking, things like that. So a competitor didn't like that she was doing well, does all this to her, spreads these rumors about her. Everyone pulls out. She probably lost money from materials she already bought, because I believe at the time you said you were working on like a big contract that you had with like a professional, like a theater kind of contract in a sense, but for mermaids. And then that same person who was spreading these lies also then posted her family's information and those pictures up on one of those websites. And I remember those, that was like the early 2000s. There was like those revenge websites. And I remember they were running rampant for like a while there. But now there's a little bit more laws, which makes it a bit easier to deal with. And now if you post pictures like that for revenge and it's cross state stuff, it turns into felony and things like that. But it's like, so Joe, he just hears about the theft thing, doesn't realize that it's not true, and Stevie's proven that it's not true. And he's trying to out her for that. And in that, he essentially, Stevie, like, when your private images like that are shared with everyone, it is a form of assault and like sexual assault, sexual harassment, right? It is pretty much like sexual assault, right? You weren't expecting those private images to get out. So Joe is like, again, just causing trauma and assaulting a woman further by bringing all this stuff up, right? Like, and then trying to dox her and everything. Yeah, you lost $2,500. Yeah, like, they got their money back through PayPal forcefully. They didn't do a deal with you. You ended up having all this like material and you couldn't do anything with it. Then your whole mermaid like tail business was gone too, right? So like everything just all at once, and then your family turn on you. And Joe's like wanting to dig all this up because in his mind he thinks it's a juicy story. So Stevie's come forward and telling her story, and she's telling parts of it that Joe probably didn't know, but I think are valid parts to discuss because it's very traumatic what she went through, right? So it's just like this is the dirt that Joe thinks he has on Stevie. So this is why she came forward and told everyone before Joe pushed it further, right? Because she's like, fine, I'll tell my story first before you tell it. But it's really sad too, because we see it even like lately too, like people are just believing stuff that isn't true. People are believing stuff that someone made up, that there's no backing on. And then they just like turn on people, and it's like you can either try to fight and clear your name, but usually when you do that, then people take your words and then skew them out of context as well. It's like a never ending kind of situation, and especially with women, especially, we do tend to be treated like worse in these situations. Also, other women treat us worse in these situations. It's just the way that society has kind of treated us. In that sense, they tend to believe like a man over a woman. This happens a lot, and it's a real struggle, and it's very difficult to deal with. And yeah, the fact that Blair says the fact that Joe thinks this makes Stevie look bad in any way just tells you what kind of piece of shit Joe is. Exactly. Yeah, it's just like all the crap that from her past, and just he dug it up on her. Like it's insane. And you were telling us the other day too, Stevie, that this story followed you for a number of years. Like Stevie would she'd start dating again, she'd go on a date with someone, they like Googled her and then found this, like all these lies about her, and found it online, and then they would like break up with her and stuff. So like that's wild that was happening to you too. So this is a very traumatic story of her life, and very like obviously life-changing event that happened to her, right? I wish Joe's victim had the strength or guts to, or whatever, tell the truth about Joe, although I understand why she hasn't. Well, she did tell the truth, Kiwi, because he did go to jail for that. So yeah, she's done her part. He went to jail for that. She doesn't have to speak up now. We shouldn't expect her to speak up on behalf of what's going on here. She probably doesn't even know what's going on here. But he did go to jail for that. So she did have the strength, and she did speak up, and she did testify against him. So and Vic says, furthermore, he's a pedo. What universe does being a survivor make you worse than a pedo? I know, right? Like even convicted murderers and serial killers, they also don't like pedos. Like there's two people that like the worst of society find more deplorable than them is cannibals and pedos. So like you are like the worst of society. Pedos are actually like the worst. So to think that you're better than Stevie because of this like nonsense, like that, it's wild. It's wild. Stevie should never have had to make any of this public just because a criminal is annoyed about his information being publicly available. Yeah, exactly. Yeah, he's just annoyed that we figured out that he is on the registry. But why he would even decide to do this grift in the first place, people would eventually realize that he's on a registry, you know, like and he wanted to get a movie deal. You think that the movie, like they have people, they have lawyers to check validity of stuff and check out people. They're gonna find you in the sexual offender registry, you know? Like I don't know what the heck he was thinking. It's absolutely ridiculous. So yeah, so this is kind of Stevie retelling her story again, because that was part of the reason too that they made this video, is because people were like, well, Stevie should tell her story before he has a chance to. It's like, she already did. Like, you know, it was like last year or 2 years ago or something like that. Yeah.
So that is what is still on the internet, and that is what Joe thinks he has over my head, because a small piece of that story is still on the internet, and I don't have the rest of my story public as far as anywhere else except here on my channel and in Mendacity.
Thank you for sharing. So you've said it, but I just want to be very clear. Is Joe Landry harassing you?
Yes. For at least 2 years now, Joe is harassing me. I exposed him, I'm pretty sure in May of 2024 for his lie, first of all. This really had nothing to do with his criminal history. I was exposing the lie he told in the paranormal. I did not think it was appropriate for him to have that story and claim it as his own. I did not think it was appropriate for him to attend conventions that I'm sure Tony would have pushed for, because I mean, we have people like Arnie Cheyenne Johnson at conventions. So I know darn well Tony would have pushed for Joe to be.
And just to further expand upon that, is that Arnie Johnson, he's from the Devil Made Me Do It case, and he's the guy who killed somebody. And Tony was getting him into conventions to like sign autographs and stuff for being part of the story. And it's like, but he's a murderer. So it's like, it's just, the conventions are filled with so many bad people. So you have like murderers attending it with Tony. So would Tony bring a pedo to a convention? Probably. I wouldn't put it past him. You know, the only reason that Tony dropped him is because Stevie outed this guy as a pedo, right? How many times will Stevie have to retell the story? I think like at this point, it's kind of, I guess, keep an eye out to see when it gets brought up, misinformation gets brought up, because that's what's happening over the last little while. I think there's a combination of some stuff going on. One is that this story was in a video to do with Get Haunted that Seg did, and that got pulled. So that gave Joe some sort of like, I don't know, ego about it. So then he started harassing in comments about Stevie again, like doxing her and saying her full name and other things like that, right? Hey, Matthew Hopkins is a prick. So it's that. And then also recently there was an episode done by Peter Laws on the Lindley Street haunting. And I know Peter, and so does Cody from Mystery Archives, who's a friend of the channel, a friend of ours. And so we all kind of like reached out to Peter, and we're like, hey, be aware, Joe's going to start coming at you in your comments, trying to get you to interview and stuff. And then, and then there was another channel that featured the Lindley Street story. And I reached out to them, and actually they're like, yeah, I watch your channel all the time. And they're like, thank you for warning me about him. So there's like 2 recent videos that happened. And the one channel, Stevie, me and you saw, Joe was in the comments trying to get him to like interview him. Peter, we didn't see Joe in the comments, but Peter's a big channel. He's a pretty popular author. So we were like, oh shit, like he's going to get caught and embroiled in this. We need to warn Peter. So I got in touch with Peter, and he's like, yeah, apparently he's been like harassing my, whatever agent, publicist, whatever person, I can't remember what he said it was. He's been like sending a lot of emails and sending a lot of messages begging for Peter to interview him and stuff. And he's like, oh, thank you for letting me know. I'm like, yeah, you don't want to get caught up with a pedo. Because I think Peter has little girls as well, too. Like, no, you don't want to get caught up in that nonsense, right? It's like Cody, great guy from Mystery Archives. He got caught up in a little Joey, whatever, Joe Landry's lie. And he did a video on him, and then he pulled it when he found out, when Stevie reached out to him, right? There's only like one channel that still has their video up. They technically have 2 channels, so they have him up on 2 channels, and the video is still there. I was looking it up today. And yeah, they call themselves Paranormal Events now. They were called something else before. And then Retraceable Echoes. It's like they both own the same channel. It's just one video. I don't really know what the difference is in the channels. Whatever. It's 2 different videos, but it's of the same topic. Same people that own the channels. And then there's the TikTok that's still up as well. Yeah, when it happened to Cody too, Cody is, I believe he said he's a survivor of CSA that happened to him, like when he was a child. So he was very upset by all this, understandably, right? And Cody, he's a really good guy too, by the way. Like as soon as he found out, he like pulled everything, right? So because he does not want to support that crap. And I know Peter Laws would not want to support that crap either. Peter's a very good guy. He's a very sweet, nice guy as well. And yeah, anyway. So yeah, there's the TikTok is still up, but they're not removing it because it's like one of their biggest TikToks. And if you try to bring it up to them and post the comments, they block you on TikTok. And then the other 2 channels are the ones that refuse to take their videos down. But I was looking at their video today, Stevie, and like, I believe it was like my video. I think like your video, it was something like the views. I think the views are like, they're less than my video for sure. And I think the one video is less than your video or something. I can't remember what it is now. But like between my video and Seg's videos, more views than those guys got that won't remove the video, right? They do state in the video that he is a convict or ex, what do they call it again? Whatever, that he's a criminal, right? He has like a criminal past, but they didn't say it was for assaulting a child. Like they're just like, oh, he has a criminal past, he's trying to make up for it, and everyone's in the comments going, oh yeah, people make mistakes, people can learn, people get better, da 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 da. Oh, Joe threatened Cody too. Yeah, that's insane. Yeah, I love the spooky church thing Peter Laws used to do. Peter is great. Yeah, I really enjoy his stuff. I enjoy his videos too, and he also like he's a believer, but he also likes having the skeptics in the chat, and as long as everyone stays respectful, he likes hearing both sides of it. He's just like a really good storyteller, and then he's doing these videos where he's getting like viewers will like apply to act out parts of the story, so he has like different voices, different accents, like different characters and stuff, which I think is really cool. I love that. But yeah, well, PDFs are unfortunately protected species now. I know it's getting really weird. Really weird. Yeah, they do. At the time when all this happened, they tiptoed around the fact that Joe assaulted a girl, a child, and they were just like, oh yeah, he has a past. And it's like, but people in the comments don't know. If they knew that he's a pedo, they would not be saying that. They would not be saying, oh, people make mistakes, because ex-con, that's what I was trying to remember. Yeah. Because they didn't say that he was convicted for assaulting a child. Like, anyway, so on top of that too, is like they're lying to their audience, and like, imagine how gross, like as a viewer, if you found out the truth about that and you're realizing that you left these comments, you're just like, oh no, that's bad. Yeah. And so it's like, and they released their video knowing that he was a registered sex offender, because Stevie reached out to them, and in the video they even say that he has a past like that. And the only reason they put that in there is because Stevie was like, hey, you shouldn't be platforming this guy. And so like, it's just crazy to me because they still released the video. I understand that they spent money on this, but I don't know, man. Like, yeah, Rope. Well, Rope is, so he changed the name of the channel from Rope to the Paranormal Events or something like that. But the video is still up. Yeah. Anyway, that's a whole side topic too. Oh, and didn't the guy who was running that channel, didn't he kind of send you something a little bit threatening to Stevie, or was like a little bit ominous or something? I think I vaguely remember you saying he sent you like a weird ominous message. I do believe that he was on Reddit leaving weird ominous comments about you. It wasn't like specific, but I don't think it was specifically, I think it was like someone, the debunking community or something. I remember finding it. God, this is a while ago. I don't remember all the little details. Bert made a short specifically to say they didn't care about their guests' past, just their stories. Yeah, it's insane. Yeah. Oh yeah, and they went to the house as well, and the people that own the house don't want people to go to their house either. And like Stevie actually talks about this in her original video. I added that section as well in my video because people are still DNA and Rope. I thought that he renamed the channel Paranormal Events. That's what I thought I saw. The acronym doesn't work anymore. Yeah, I thought that they renamed the channel. Either way, the video is still up. So Bert also turned off the comments on his Joe video. Oh, really? Interesting. I wonder if some people found out and got like angry about it. Or like, I mean, well, it's probably Seg's audience went over to correct people. You know, I mean, as a viewer, if I'm watching a content creator and they're trying to push a story on me and not like, they're clearly aware that this guy is a pedo and they're like not telling me, like, I would be offended as a viewer too. I'd be upset with a content creator doing that. Odd that Tony's the next cop and feels the need to promote made up stories from a PDF and a murderer. Yeah, exactly. Bert posted on Reddit he was going to expose the mermaid thing. Yes, that's what it was. And that's why we all knew that they were talking together, because also Rob, I think, said the same thing as well to like Chris or something and someone else. It's like they were all talking together. And we know that Linda talks to Rob and Nesper and stuff. She's like that weird woman that supports Joe, but she talks to the whole circle. So she, and actually we have screenshots of her saying to Rob that she had your personal information if you wanted it. Like she posts that in a public forum on Facebook because she's an idiot. Yeah. He did rename the channel, but all the mod accounts are DNA Rope. Okay. All right. Okay, I'm going to play this, and I'm going to grab a drink while it's playing. I'm still listening.
Conventions where children are present. So I didn't think that was right. And so I let the community know this man is not only a liar, he is a criminal in the worst sense of the word.
Yes.
So because of that, people have reacted to my videos. People have covered Lindley Street on their own channels. And Joe reaches out to them and we explain, hey, this guy is not legit. Please don't trust him and his story. He gets angry and he retaliates in comments by doxing my full legal name, which is not really a secret. My name is Stevi. I've always gone by Stevi. Stevi is short for Stephanie. But I do use a different last name on Facebook simply for safety. Lots of people do. It's not a big deal. But Joe continues to put my first and last name in people's comments to try and expose me, quote unquote, for my past.
So, first off, backing up, going by a different last name, I don't think is very uncommon, especially for someone who has had their identity so exploited the way you have with what you just described with your past with those photos. The other thing I would say is that Joe Landry seems to bring up a lot that you have doxed him.
Yes.
Yeah, so the dude had issues, still can't believe people have no problem defending pedos. It's so frustrating because a lot of people, and it's not just defending pedos, but like I've noticed a lot of the women that are kind of in that headspace are also like defending other weird stuff too. And like people use these women as examples to say it's okay for what they're doing to children and other women because this woman is okay with it. So therefore all women need to be okay with it. And it's like, it's so frustrating when I see women that support this crap because it makes life harder for the rest of us. It's just so frustrating. Yeah, Rob Stackadick said first he had dirt on me, then Joe started saying it, then Linda, and so on. Yeah. And I mean, we have them openly saying it in public forums on Facebook and stuff where like people can just screenshot it. So it's like absolutely ridiculous. And yeah, so like I think this is part of the reason that Joe felt emboldened to come forward again is because with our issues with, you know, the people in January and everything going on, those videos got removed. They got taken down. So he's like, oh, yay. So I'm going to try to come back out and ruin her life or whatever the heck he's thinking he's doing. But yeah, absolutely ridiculous. Yeah.
What would you like to say about that?
So first of all, I'd like to
Joan, you said, I just never speak to women. Easier that way. You talk to us all the time. Joan's like, I don't hate women. I don't talk to them. And I hate men. I don't talk to men. And she's joking, by the way. She's like, I hate men. I'm married to one, though. So anyway, she's a joker. A lot of people seem to not realize that she's joking. But yeah, the neuter puppy. Yeah, something like that. Yeah. So people really need a dictionary. Stevie did not dox Joe. No, like he has no rights to privacy because he is a sex offender. Like it's Megan's Law. Like all of his rights to privacy are revoked. He also like can't be living in certain areas, people in the neighborhood. As part of that too, I believe that he has to go around and tell people that he's moving in. Like there's a whole thing with Megan's Law. Like everyone gets to know what you did and you don't have any right to privacy. Sorry, man. Just not a thing, you know? By the way, Ken Gerald is not my real name, or is it? Yeah. What a joke. Where? Oh, what? A joke? Oh yeah. I know. Some people like don't understand dry humor even though they should.
clarify for Joe.
What would you bet you have doxed him? Andrew seems to bring up a lot that you have doxed him.
Yes.
What would you like to say about that?
So first of all, I'd like to clarify for Joe and anyone else what doxing actually is. There's a lot of confusion I've noticed on the internet. Doxing is exposing someone's personal information with malicious intent. Yes, he only gave...
Right. And there was like a lot of confusion too in January where people didn't understand what doxing is. And it is about intent as well. And so when we're telling people about Joe and we're like telling the public about him, we're warning people like, hey, don't be around this guy. If this guy's going to be at conventions, don't go don't bring your kids around him, you know, and we're trying to warn these channels and they refuse to take down their video. So it's forcing us to come public with it. Right. So like, we're doing it to warn people. He is doxing her maliciously, hoping that someone will come attack her or something, you know? And I mean, Linda's doing it too. And Rob is doing it for a little bit. Rob didn't keep doing it. I think he just kind of did it at the beginning there when you guys were all like fighting. But Linda and Joe keep doing it. So yeah, he gave up his rights to privacy when he decided to be a disgusting piece of shit. Yeah, exactly. Yeah. I only like non-binary people, which honestly, I'm fine with that, says Jonia. Which is why you love me. 2 counts. Yeah, they barely get a slap on the wrist. Yeah, that's sort of the idea, like with Megan's Law. Like, they don't properly punish these men, usually men, 99% of the time it's men. They don't usually punish these offenders. So Megan's Law is like, at the very least, it's some kind of punishment that follows around them around for the rest of their life. You know, like there's a lot of ancient history and cultures that show, and even there's like places that still exist today too, that if someone does this to a child, like you would be killed. But if you killed someone, you aren't necessarily killed. Like it's a pretty serious crime, right? I know some cultures were okay with it, but a lot of cultures were not okay with it because it's messed up. Even they're barred from living in apartment complexes. Yeah, I could see that. Like he can't be around children, right? Like there's a lot of rules around this stuff. So yeah, I adore Joan. She's sassy. Yeah, I know. Yeah, sassy. Joan is really sassy and super smart and super funny. I love her.
My personal information on the internet. Doxing is exposing someone's personal information with malicious intent. Yes, he only gave my first and last name. He has not given my address or my phone number. However, he is giving it with malicious intent, hoping people will come after me as a result. So, when I exposed Joe, I gave his full name, which is on his registry. It is not a secret. It is very public information. And I gave that information for the public's safety. It was not malicious in a sense that I was not trying to hurt him. I was trying to prevent him from infiltrating our community. He sees it differently, obviously.
Yeah, so this is Megan from Megan's Law. It's tied to an actual case. A 7-year-old girl from Hamilton, New Jersey. She was assaulted and murdered by her neighbor in 1994. Her parents fought to have a law passed that would inform communities of sex offenders living among them. Megan's Law was passed within months of her murder and was later adopted by numerous other states. And pretty much the whole world at this point uses it for the most part. Like most whatever. Highly developed countries. I don't know what you call it, but because Canada has the same thing too. We have sex offender registry now. Pretty much every like place in the world, for the most part, does this now. Because it does help. It does help prevent future attacks from happening. It does cut them down. And as well, it also helps too when the law enforcement are investigating a crime. They can be like, okay, is there anyone living nearby that's on the registry? And then they'll pick them up first and like, whatever, interrogate them. But if there's like a kid that goes missing or something like that, you know what I mean? Like it helps law enforcement as well. So it's a very good thing that it was passed. I don't think that they could revoke it at this point because the whole world has adopted it. But and 1994 is when this happened. Like it's really sad that it's taken us this long to even get to this point, but it's still very new. So even heard about Megan's Law in the UK. Yeah. I think the UK
That's
also
why his
has
information
a
is out
registry.
there. It's for public safety.
Yeah.
Your information being out there is not for public safety.
Right, it is for revenge.
When you're a teacher, is there like a book in the schools of like all the ones that live in the city or something like that? That would be super helpful. I mean, well, now I guess you can access the websites, but still, yeah, it'd be helpful to know if there was any that live in your neighborhood or near the school in some way. Developed nations. That's okay. That's the best way to say it. Cass. Yes. Highly developed nations or whatever. Yeah. You don't just suddenly wake up and you're not a pedo. That's the thing. So that's the reality of a QE is he's like, it only happened one time. That's doubtful. To me, I feel like that's doubtful. Because a lot of us don't come forward, like a lot. The majority, like it's a very high number. I think there's only like a 5% of us actually come forward and report it. And if he's doing it to children, children are less likely to come forward because they're scared. Children tend to get the will or whatever, the drive to come forward when they get older. But they put like statutory limits on this stuff, which I think is absolutely BS. I've heard that there's some states that are passing a thing. I think it's California. They remove statutory limits if it was like actually, I think California removes statutory limits all in all, but I think I heard some states are doing it when it's a child, or some states have done it when it's a minor. If it happened to you when you're a minor, there's no statutory limits kind of deal. So like a lot of times too, these kids don't report anything till they're older, but then the statutory time has gone past, so they can't do anything to them. They could try to sue the person who did it to them, but that brings up like a whole lot of like mess and everything. And just also with Joe, I mean, he has no money, so you know. Yeah, he only got caught one time. I just don't believe that he only did it one time. I'm just not buying it. I don't know. From everything that we've seen through history, everything that we've read, if you consume like true crime too, you see the stats. He had to have done it more than one time. He just only got caught once, you know. My family and I were on the same beach in Edinburgh on the same day. A little girl my age was taken by a pedo. He's a serial offender and they didn't make it. Sits with me a lot. Yeah, it's tough. I think New York may have too. Yeah, there were some states that passed this. It's something to do with like if it happened when you're a minor, that they're removing all statutory limits because children are too scared to come forward, right? But I believe in California, they passed this for the Diddy case, is that I believe they removed all statutory limits, or it's something like they removed it, or they made it like it's 30 years or something. It's like really high. Essentially, you can come forward at any time now in California, which is good. I mean, that's how it should be, in my opinion. I think all the states, all the world should be like, you should be able to come forward at any time and they can try to investigate it. But I guess like maybe part of the issue too, I can see this especially in places where the DAs get voted in by the public instead of assigned or hired, is that it's not a high chance of success of winning the case if someone comes forward 10, 20 years later, right? Because there's just not enough evidence for it. So then they wouldn't really try the case. They wouldn't really move forward with it. And I mean, that's the thing. I mean, you could, even with statutory limits gone, you still have to have enough evidence for them to even take it to trial. And like, what you don't just like whip out a phone while it's happening to you. You can't really just do that. So it's hard to prove unless you go and get a kit done, right? Or unless someone was filming something. That's like really the only ways to prove this stuff. Or unless there's like multiple witnesses that were there. So it's a really tough thing. Yeah. Hey, Problematic Biosphere. We're talking about little Joey and Stevi and everything going on that happened to her a couple years ago. And we're talking about Joe Landry. He is a sex offender. He assaulted a child, and he's the one that has been doxing and harassing Stevi for like the last 2 years. So yeah. Most psychology criminal experts agree, once a PDF, always a PDF. Yes, there is pretty much like all the research says this. Yes. Same with cannibalism too, oddly enough. Cannibalism and the pedo stuff and cannibalism, it's like a weird psychological sickness that they get like addicted to it. I guess it's a power thing, or it's creepy. It's super creepy.
He'll say that he safety.
Right, it is for revenge.
He'll say that he has your address. Do you have reason to believe he does have your address?
I do have suspicion, yes, because when he had announced that he had this dirt on me, the person that also claimed to have the same dirt on me has my address. And that person gave my address to Tony Spira, so Tony Spira could send me cease and desist notices. So I'm pretty sure at this point that Joe does have.
I forgot this. Tony did send you some stuff. Yeah, then it's possible that he does. I was thinking that maybe he was using that satellite image that popped up on Facebook, even though that woman gave the wrong image, right? But I forgot Tony did that with the like not real lawyer type thing that didn't match the right state, and like I don't know, got some guy to sign it that really shouldn't have been signing those, but yeah. Joe claims his son is suffering because of his pedo tendencies are publicized. Guess what? If he wasn't a PDF, there'd be no problems. Exactly. Like, sorry that you had children. I mean, maybe you shouldn't have had children if you're going to be a pedo. You know, like, I don't know what to say. And also, like, these people have a tendency of using their children as a shield. The other ones from the circus also do that, and their children are, like, fully grown adults, and they use them as a shield. And I just watched this video, and, you know, we're going to discuss on Tuesday. We're going to revisit the Mayim Bialik, sorry, and Bashar video I did. And I just watched this video of Mayim, I can never say your name. And she's using her children as like a shield for this like conversation about Zionism. Sorry to get sidetracked. And then the woman that I'm watching, she's like reacting to this video, and she's like, her children are 18 and 20. She's like, her children are not kids. They're grown and they're out of the house doing their own thing now. It's like, I can't stand people who do that. Like, what about my kids? Oh, your adult children who are living their own lives now. I think they can handle things on their own. Like, yeah. It's just it's so dumb. Yeah, Tony is a lawyer in New Jersey, the same lawyer that Rob uses to send cease and desist. Yeah, and it's like, and they didn't properly file, like they have to file stuff in your state as well. And also, didn't we look into that lawyer? That lawyer isn't, doesn't handle this type of law. Like, weren't they like real estate law or something like that? Like, it was something like, it wasn't the correct venue, it wasn't the correct type of lawyer kind of deal. Something was off about it, I just remember.
Of my address.
So you do have reasonable like thoughts that you could be in danger.
Yeah, especially with the violent threats. He threatened to end me.
Right.
And I'm sure you'll put up other examples, but I will say I've had a few examples as well on my own channel of Joe coming over once he sees Stevi. He will go to other channels where she is present or mentioned and put up the same threats. And they are violent. There are violent threats. I will mention that they're mostly asking for people to come to him so that he may physically harm them, boasting that he has harmed people while he was in prison for his crimes. Is there other forms of harassment you have faced from him?
Okay, so Joe has done other things aside from just commenting. He has tried to rally other people to harass me. He made friends with one of the people that was trolling me pretty hard simply because they didn't like what I was saying about Nesper. They teamed up. They even met up and hung out in person. There is photos of them hanging out together. She commented on everything of mine. She comments all over Facebook constantly about how I'm terrible, and she calls my page Truth or Siemens because she thinks that's clever. But she has been repeatedly harassing me with Joe's, like, and Joe kind of like boistered her to do that, as well as Joe goes to other channels, channels I've worked with, like you said. He's gone now to Beardo's channel and threatened Beardo because Beardo is now experiencing doxing as well. Someone, as you guys know, went to Beardo's house and filmed his house and then sent it to people. Joe.
Yeah, I mean, this is sort of like the title of my stream is kind of like, there's a lot of this sort of going on, doxing threats, etc. And it's just, it's always tied to this sort of people that are upset that they didn't get what they wanted in the sense of like fame and entertainment, right? Like the guys who are doxing Beardo, I've heard that they were upset because their channel isn't growing as fast as other people. And Joe's upset because he didn't get a movie deal, right? So, isn't Bashar the one that has the followers leaving nasty comments about your criticisms? Yeah, we'll look at they're not, I mean, they're sort of hate comments, but they're also surrounded by crazy talk, like tinfoil hat talk. so they aren't really bothering me. I just found them a little entertaining. But yeah, we're gonna do stream kind of talk about that. Also called Florio, Stevie, and myself, every other woman on my show, cackling hens, yeah, things like that. Yeah, and Joe, he makes new accounts. Like I keep banning him from my channel because he keeps leaving Stevie's real name everywhere. So like, I'm gonna remove him and ban him because he's trying to dox her, like with malicious intent behind it. And I'm not gonna leave that up on my channel, right? Linda, same thing. I keep banning. She keeps making new accounts as well. Joe loves to make threats. Yeah. I literally have 2 debunking community videos on my channel. Joe showed up on mine. Yeah, he always shows up wherever there's Stevie. I have him like on YouTube. When you ban someone, it just hides them from your channel. So like I think I've done like 5 accounts for both of them at this point. So for all I know, he's probably chatting away on these accounts and not realizing that he's actually banned from the channel. So I do cackle and dabble in witchcraft, so fair, but you know, well, yeah, I mean, that's the thing is, calling women hens is technically like misogynistic. It is tied to the patriarchy and everything, the like trad wife kind of deal. But I mean, I'll use it as a joke, but you know, I'm a woman and I can make fun of myself. He's a creepy pedo, so no, he doesn't get to take part in that. Like joking around. Joe's becoming YouTube savvy. Not really, just makes new accounts. But I always say to everyone too, the creators, when you guys see it, just report the accounts too, because YouTube will eventually like ban someone's IP address from making new accounts if they keep getting reported. Like if you see the doxing, like report it for the doxing, right? So yeah.
I thought that was funny. Joe went into Beardo's comments to say how awesome it was that it was happening to Beardo and said something along the lines of being doxxed doesn't feel great. Well, Joe, you were never doxxed, so you have really no leg to stand on there.
Yeah, like technically, all in all, he wasn't doxxed because there's no intention of like us wanting to send people after Joe or anything like that. When we talk about Joe and where he is, it's to warn the public because he's trying to get into the paranormal community. Like we're doing it to warn people about it. And he's doing it to be malicious. There's a difference. The intent is actually what defines the doxing in a court of law. So, and Tony's very 70s man. He likes other 70s style men like Joey. Yeah. Screenshot anything. If you see him leave a comment or anything, screenshot it. If he's doxing someone in it, report it to Google for doxing, and then you can ban him from your channel. But do like screenshot and report it, because the reporting thing, it is a thing with Google. If you get banned too much on the same IP, they'll like make sure that you can't open new channels and stuff for YouTube. So yeah, you won't have like accounts. You'll be forced to watch YouTube without an account. You won't be able to make another account at all. So yeah, it's 2:30 a.m. where you are. Yeah, go ahead, get some sleep. We'll talk to you later.
There's that speaking unfortunately the truth or Siemens thing. There seems to be a lot of
we attract nasty enemies because there's a lot of nasty people in the entertainment industry, and that's anywhere from content creators to influencers to actors to producers to everything. Honestly, in my many years of doing this, it's a lot of bad people in the entertainment industry. And we're also talking about YouTubers and stuff too. And so when we make content and such where we're around exposing people and exposing the truth, and in this case, we're doing it to protect the public because Joe wanted to get a movie deal and he's working with Tony, who's already known to take criminals to paranormal conventions where there's children, so we're going to warn the public, right? So we're going to attract nasty enemies when it comes to things like that. And sometimes the nasty enemies that we attract are even other creators as well, because there are nasty people in this field. Sadly, there's a lot of people that want fame and attention and money, and people that want that stuff, like if that's what they're really after, then they tend to not be good people the majority of the time, right? doesn't a PDF consent to the term of Megan's Law? No, they don't get to consent. They lose their, that's the whole thing. You took away consent from a child. You don't get consent anymore. You don't get privacy anymore. It's not, they don't consent to Megan's Law. It doesn't matter if there's a plea deal, whatever. They automatically get put in the registry. That's the way it is, except for that one weird state that I found about, that weird law that's from like Confederate times. But yeah. Night Cash, remember, I only like you. Yeah. That's what Joe says. Yeah. Well, Joe didn't agree to the things he's complaining about, but he kind of brought it on himself by attacking a child. So yeah. Sad there's so many nasty people in the paranormal. It's not just paranormal. Like I'm telling, it's not just paranormal. Look at the craft community online. We think there's toxicity in this community. Go look at the friggin' craft community, the knitting and crocheting community. They're insane. Like there's a lot of bad people in these communities. If people are trying to get money and fame, if that's their goal, they usually end up bad people, you know, or like it attracts bad people. Sadly, it's just the way it is in the entertainment industry. So yeah.
Hypersexualizing you as an insult, which is devastating based on one, the photos, as we brought up before, but also the idea that this is coming from a man who has harmed a child sexually. It feels very sinister. It's the best way I can put it.
And people have piggybacked on top of that. I've talked about before how I was accused of being helped in this industry simply because I'm a girl, simply because of my quote unquote ass and tits. So that's a thing too, that this is just building on top of itself over and over. All the people who want to hate me for whatever reason are just piggybacking off of the same harassment.
And how does it make you feel to be sexualized in that way?
It's very frustrating. I have talked about it before. I've talked about it with you. I've talked about it with others. It's very frustrating for my gender to be thrown into the situation, for me to be hypersexualized to the point where my content is not being absorbed. The information is being disregarded because of my body parts.
Yeah, and I mean, I didn't finish watching it to the very end. She might talk about it, but I'll talk about it here. I was presenting the story. You guys remember the big long, those of you that were around, remember I did those 2 really long lives where I presented the whole story of the circus of Get Haunted and everything else have gone on. They got those lives taken down through like false strikes and complaints and everything. So when I was reporting it, I was trying to play, I believe it was Kristen's story, because Stevi did a series on it's called Mendacity, and it's the story of Get Haunted, what they did to our friends like Kristen and Vic and everyone too, right? And Tara and I also played her story. So I go to play Kristen's story in the stream, and Stevi, the way that she filmed it is she didn't show her face because she wanted the stories to be about the victims and not her, right? So she filmed it so that it was like the camera was like here down. And there was a guy in this community in the chat who wouldn't stop talking about Stevie's boobs. And then he wasn't listening to anything she was saying. And it was just like out of line, you know? And then he was even like, well, I'm going to go outside and take a break from this because I can't concentrate. It's like she was wearing a freaking turtleneck. Like, if it's to the point that you can't listen to a woman without objectifying them, and this guy's in this community, by the way, like he's in this community, everyone talks to him, everyone's friends with him, like this is the point we're at. So are women getting frustrated? Yeah. The women that don't care and I'm a woman and I don't think like that, I don't care. We are women and we feel this way. It's absolutely inappropriate that he did that, and any woman who thinks it's okay that he did that, you need to look in the mirror. There's something wrong with you. Like, seriously.
So that's really frustrating. That's another reason I wanted to reiterate my story. I know that it got lost in the fray amidst that sort of sexualization of me.
Yeah. How does it make you feel to be resexualized again?
It's really frustrating because I have seen the comments. I've seen where I tried to help the victims of mendacity and how the focus seemed to be my boobs instead of the content that I was speaking on. I made a choice to film the video the way I did because I wanted to focus on the information, not myself. Then, for whatever reason, my boobs were the focus of the situation. So a lot of people's stories were lost in that, and that makes me feel really bad because me being sexualized took away from them. It was not about me, it was about them, and I was trying to tell their stories in the most respectful way possible, and it was still disrespected.
And as a reminder, if you go look at her videos, she's wearing a freaking turtleneck, long sleeve turtleneck, fully covered. Like, there was no sexualization, no way that she presented her body to want to be objectified like that. She was trying to be the nothing that's presenting the story and wanted you to listen to the victims. And the fact that people in this community who that's what they concentrated on, and they currently right now are being held up on a pedestal while we're being pushed down on. Like, there's a problem in this community, which is also why I'm really trying to separate away from the debunking community, because it's pretty clear how they feel about women here. So I'm not a fan of it. I don't like seeing it, and it's disgusting. It really is. So, yeah.
Is there anything that you do differently in order to avoid being sexualized?
I do, actually. I tend to be more conservative in the way I dress when I film. I don't like to wear low-cut shirts. I very rarely show skin. Most of the time, if you see my skin, it's covered in tattoos, but I prefer to cover up more and to not wear anything that will draw attention to me as a woman. All right, so I think it's kind of important that I read Joe's comment that he recently left on Beardo's video about him being doxxed, because it's kind of getting lost and people are fully grasping the situation of what Joe was trying to do. So Joe says under Beardo's video, "That's awesome," in reference to him being doxxed. Then he puts my full legal name, which I will put this on the screen for everyone to read. I have blurred out my full legal name. It says, "My full legal name of Truth or Demons doxed me. And it's not doxing if you have a public record." He says there himself that he wasn't doxed, but he says it's not doxing if you have public record. "Not so nice when the shoe was on the other foot. I've had her address for over a year, as well as her friend with the frying pan face." Now, I don't understand the insult, but he is referring to Dust Productions because Dust also got a comment from Joe very similar.
And also, I realize this now, Stevie, we didn't talk about this, I'm realizing reading this. He also says that he has the address of her friend with the frying pan face. And yes, he probably does, because Dust was recently attempted to be sued. And therefore they have his address, right? Because they would have given it to Rob. And Rob probably has given it to like Linda and them. Like, the way that he has that worded, it sounds like he was given this person's address, and they definitely have Dust's address, because that's sort of was part of the court proceedings, right? Stevie could be dressed in Amish attire and still been slammed. Yeah, there's a lot of people that sexualize Stevie, and I mean, I don't tell her all the times, but there are people, and they'll like leave a comment somewhere, they'll say something about her. I'm just like, do you like? She's very intelligent. She digs up really good stuff. She has really good videos and research and everything that she does, and I feel like y'all are just so sexualizing her when honestly she really does dress like Amish, pretty much, like boho. But like, she really covers up quite a lot, and she doesn't sexualize herself, and people still sexualize her. Like, it's a little bit ridiculous how badly she is sexualized amongst the community and everything. I do get like weird comments and stuff that I just kind of like block.
"I'm just waiting for another attack from them, and I will be posting their homes with a satellite view. And this goes out to everyone. If you can find public records pertaining to these debunkers, it's not doxing. Are we having fun yet?" And then
And again, it is doxing. It's doxing if the intent is to hurt someone, or to, you know, hope that someone shows up at their house to harass them or whatever like this. Like, this is intent, right? This is intent. This is doxing. What he's planning to do, it's doxing. But us sharing his information that he has, he's a registered sex offender, that is not doxing. Because first of all, our intent isn't to send harassment his way. Our intent is to warn the public. But on top of that, it doesn't even matter, because you are a registered sex offender, Joe. there's no way that any court of law, even if the intent was there to hurt you, they wouldn't end up charging that person with doxing, because you have lost all your rights to privacy because you are a registered sex offender. You know, like, he just is, I mean, well, he's an idiot, obviously. He doesn't understand the law, and he doesn't understand how this stuff works, right? It's pretty face and boobs combo, apparently. I know, right? It is bad, and it's a problem. Don't let people try to convince you otherwise. Yeah, it is a problem. It is a problem in this community. It's a problem all over. I mean, honestly, it's a problem online in general. Okay, like, let's not just say it's just this community. It's just, I see a lot of comments from this community because this community watches the content, and they'll like comment or say something, and I'm just like, whatever. And then I've been told stuff too in private where someone like asks me if she's single, and I'm just like, dude, like, you guys need to like leave her the fuck alone. She's also had viewers that get like weird and stalky with her too. Like, Stevi has been dealing with like a lot of harassment and like just inappropriate comments and things I don't even tell her everything I get either, because like, what's the point? I'm just gonna block them, right? Like, I don't want to bring her down or anything, but it's just, it's absolutely ridiculous. Like, either women are like too strong and hate men because we're standing up for ourselves, or we're too pretty and therefore people just look at our bodies and aren't listening to what we're saying. It's like, this is the struggle we're dealing with, right? And if you're a woman in this community that's not dealing with this struggle, great, good for you. But a lot of us are dealing with this. So, you know, we can't just pretend it doesn't exist. And it's not just community, sorry. I will specify, like, it tends to happen online. It happened when I was a Twitch streamer and doing stuff. It happens on Twitch, happens in other communities on YouTube. In general, it happens as a content creator, an influencer, an actor, an actress. Like, it's the entertainment industry as a whole, right? People just like over sexualize women, or if they don't over sexualize them, then they judge them for being like too feminist or some crap, right? Yeah, I love you too, Steve, of course. Yeah. Oh, and before you ask, yes, the cops have been notified several times. Yes, yeah. We do file reports. We do call the cops. We do all the things that we should be doing, just like trying to get people to act on a cybercrime. It's very difficult to try to get the cops to act on it properly. Now, technically right now, he's just sharing her full name. If he shares her address and stuff, because he is on the registry, yes, they will come after him for this, for sure. Because sharing an address takes it to that next level, right? All right, Vic. Yeah, you've got a migraine. Okay, yeah, no, go get some rest. All right, yeah, I'll talk to you later.
Put a bunch of laughing and crying emojis. My address is not public information. That does not give anyone permission to use it or post it, or a satellite image of my house, which is also not public information. Yes, satellite imagery is publicly accessible, but if you find my home and try and share that, that is called doxing, Joe, because you have malicious intent for people to come after me.
Mm-hmm. And then the other question I had is, how has...
Yeah, Joe's PO didn't care, but the cops in Stevie's town did better. Yeah, and to be fair, like, not to insult, like, Florida, but Joe's in Florida right now, and some areas of Florida, trying to get the cops to, like, act on stuff is, like, it's like pulling teeth. It's very difficult to get them to act on stuff. There are some other states, obviously, that are bad, too, but, like, Florida's got, like... Florida's like the Wild West. Like, it's always like you hear these crazy stories. Like, this man drove into a KFC like window, drove his car in there, and then like stole all the cash and drove out or something. It's like you hear this freaking crazy story, and they'll be like in Florida. It's like, why is it always Florida? I swear it's like the humidity or something. It makes people crazy down there. It's just, Florida's like so crazy. Oh, and then all the bugs too, the insects. My friend almost lost a foot because she was bit by these flies. I can't remember what they're called now, but like, damn, Florida's scary, man. Yeah.
Mm-hmm. And then the other question I had is, how has this harassment from Joe affected you on any place outside of YouTube?
So, luckily for me, I don't stress a lot about the harassment outside of YouTube because I've been through it before, but I still have to deal with things like, does he really know where I live? Is someone going to randomly show up at my house? I know those things happen. I am constantly thinking of things like that. I had a home invasion attempt a couple years ago, right after this happened. Some people thought there was a correlation. I didn't personally think so, but who knows? Like, at this point, if he puts my information out, I am sort of a sitting duck. Anyone can do as they will based on how they feel about me and my content. So that kind of leads into the recent events on my personal, not my personal Facebook page, my Truth or Demons Facebook page. I shared a fact, a very simple fact. I shared the fact that Annabelle is going to Salem. The Warren Occult Museum is opening in Salem, and Annabelle will be there. I didn't share that fact blindly. I shared that fact based on a news interview with Elton Cassay and Matt Rife. They said themselves Annabelle was coming to Salem. I posted this fact. For whatever reason, I am suddenly being attacked left and right from commenters, threatening me, freaking out on me, calling me a liar, saying terrible, terrible things. And in the midst of all this commenting and people freaking out on me for a fact that I presented, I got threatened to be doxxed again. Someone I've never spoken to before was in my comments posting satellite images of homes and addresses, none of which were mine, but that doesn't, I mean, it was a threat. Maybe they were trying to scare me into believing that they did have my actual address. Maybe they do. I have no idea. So this is now happening on my Facebook page for my podcast. They're sharing images of homes via satellite, and then I have Joe in Beardo's comments saying he has satellite images of my house. So now, do I worry if Joe is in cahoots with other people? Is Joe sharing information with these people and they're coming after me, not having the full story, not knowing about Joe? And also, coincidence, Joe is in Florida. This person was also in Florida. So I have to worry about things like that now.
Yeah, the people are in Florida. Yeah, Law's saying, glad you clarified who Frying Pan Face was. Another content creator claiming victimhood said it was his. Yeah. So, and the other reason that we also believe it's Dust, and sorry, she didn't mention it in here, and I forgot to mention it. Dust was getting a bunch of messages from Joe. Like, he was getting a bunch of comments on his videos. He got comments on his posts, and Joe was sharing Stevie's real name. And so, like, we do think that it's Dust, because Dust, he did a stream or something. What was it that he did something, and it was like really railing into Joe a bunch, and then Joe was like leaving those comments, and he left a few. It wasn't just like one. He left like one on a post, he left like a couple under a video and stuff, and then what was it again, and then, yeah, Dust has also went to court recently. So his address is with a certain somebody we know. And at the time, I mean, everyone was so mad with everyone, or like, even I wouldn't be surprised if they were sharing the addresses for legal reasons, which again, like, there's nothing wrong with saying, okay, if you want to sue them, okay, here, I'll share their address with you, or you want to file a police report. Behind closed doors, like, I don't see anything wrong with that when you're like, I'm pursuing legal action, we're going to share addresses for our legal reasons. So I could see an opportunity of Dust's address being passed around. You know what I mean? The other reason too why I also think it's Dust, Frying Pan Face, is because Dust has a very round face. Sorry, Dust, if you're still here. He has a very round face. And when he made this insult as well on Beardo's page, it was just after Dusted, he featured Joe, or he was talking about Joe, and it was the day after. And that was also the day that he was leaving comments. Oh yeah, no, it was okay, Dust did a stream about the doxing. So then, because he brought up Joe because Beardo was being doxxed. So he was talking about that. And he brought up that Seg was doxxed, or threatened to be doxxed or whatever recently, with Angelina and all that friggin' disaster, right? So like, Dust was featuring those stories again, and Dust got a bunch of comments from Joe. And then the same day, Joe commented on Beardo's thing and was saying that, no, I think it was Dust presented the comment on Beardo's page, or no, he didn't. It was like, God, I can't remember. Anyways, we figured out like the chronological order of it was essentially Joe was commenting on a few of Dust's things. Then he commented on Beardo's things after Dust talked about them. And then we're like, well, then they also have probably a Dust address within their little group for legal proceedings. And Dust has a round face. So like that's why we think that we're pretty confident that he's talking about Dust. Also because Dust is a bit of a troll. And I believe that he was trolling, or like sort of like not trolling, but like, you know, we're all like telling Joe, like, you're a piece of shit. And I think he was doing that too. Like, I'm telling him right now too, he's a piece of shit. He ruined a girl's life, you know? Like, so anyway, that's why we do believe that it's dust. Yeah. Just to kind of like explain our reasoning as to what it was. It's like chronologically the way the messages all happen, because he also posts under a couple of Dust's lives, because Dust sent us like the screenshots, and he's like, do you want me to remove it? Do you want to screenshot it? Like, what do you want to do? Like, he was sending it to us, and it did sit there for like a day or two as well. So, but yeah. The Mystorian shared stories Lorraine had regarding Bigfoot. Oh yeah. Well, that Mystorian episode is why I think Tony did that big friggin' rant on Facebook like a few days ago. I think the Mystorian episode upset him. And the thing is, like, we don't really talk to, like, he's talked to Stevie, but the Mystorian's just doing his own thing, right? And that's where too I'm kind of like, okay, I just kind of want to be like that. Like, I'm just going to do my own thing, and I'm not going to worry about the community, because there's a lot of people that are doing debunking and things like this that aren't part of the community. So I do think the Mystorian pissed off Tony. Like, honestly, I think there's something he did. Because we haven't made any new content about Tony or the Warrens lately. So it's got to be the Mystorian, right? Like, it's either that or, like, I don't know. I haven't seen Tony stick up for Elton. I really do think it was the Mystorian. Yeah.
And I will say, even if it wasn't your home, it could be somebody's home. So,
exactly. And now it's out there.
yeah. And they, you know, they might have people coming to their doorstep, their literal doorstep, trying to harass you, but it's just some random person.
Yep.
So other people are getting dragged into this, just to make that very, very clear.
So I really appreciate the recent reporting. I have noticed that a couple of people have reacted and shared the comments and stuff, but I think it's really important to make sure you share all of it instead of just leaving parts out or assuming or guessing. That's really unfortunate when people go forward with the story and they don't say everything that's happening. They don't include all the players. People get really confused and lost, and then they don't, the whole history of it kind of gets lost, and people don't know where to find it is one of the biggest things. If you're not sharing all the players, all the information, where it started, where it is now, all of those things go together, and to report on it and share it is fantastic. But please, please make sure you share all the information so people aren't lost and confused with what's going on.
And I will say, to just point it out, the pattern all leads back to Stevie. All the comments that I've had from Joe Landry on my channel are about Stevie. The comment on Dust and on Beardo's channel were about Stevie. There might be other people mentioned, but the common thread is Stevie. This is Stevie's cross to bear and her burden that she is facing.
So moving forward from here, I will be taking the proper paths to document this. I am going to be filing charges and making sure there's a paper trail and doing the proper things to document.
Also, I will point out too that Linda has been going around like spreading the misinformation about the mermaid story and things like that, and essentially like accusing Stevie of being a thief and like things like that, which is like defamation, slanderous, and so forth. So Stevie, she has sent Linda a cease and desist, and Linda is convinced that Stevie didn't use a real lawyer and that she just hired some random guy to serve her papers. And it's like, no, that's a real lawyer, and that was someone who was hired to go serve papers. Like, it's so crazy. They're in their head now convinced that we're using fake lawyers, which just tells me that we already assume that a lot of them are using fake lawyers, and like lawyers that aren't really appropriate for it. And like, it's kind of iffy, the lawyers that, the few bit of lawyer stuff that we've seen attached to stuff. And I'm not talking about the latest player with the lawsuit with us. I'm talking about like, you know, what happened a couple years ago, right? With all the other people that are involved with mendacity and everything, is the lawyer stuff was always a little shady, and just makes us think that, or at least to me, I'm like, okay, you're accusing her of using a fake lawyer, then you guys are probably using fake lawyers. Like, I always like look at this, I'm like, okay, if you're coming up with like this crazy thing, this like accusation that there's really no proof of this accusation, it just makes you think that you're the one doing it, you know? So, but yeah, she's telling people that you forged the signature now, which again, like this stuff is like, it's slanderous. Like, she's doing like slanderous talk and defamation. You know what I mean? But yeah. Stevie did hire a real lawyer. She has served papers to Linda. Yes, yeah.
Document these kind of things, because if you don't document them and something bad happens, it looks like you weren't prepared. It looks like that.
Oh yeah, and we have a very amazing lawyer. KK knows him. He's a friend of me and KK's, and he's been helping us along the way too. And he's like one of the top tier lawyers. Like, he just doesn't work for that firm anymore, but he's very talented, and he's an international lawyer, and he works in pretty much all areas of law, for the most part, other than there was one thing. I think the only thing that he doesn't do is real estate law. I can't remember now. I can't remember. Anyway, we have a very good and talented and knowledgeable friend of ours that helps with a lot of our lawyer stuff too. So yeah.
Everything that has happened to you is irrelevant to the situation. So it is important to have that paper trail, because if anything does happen and you are safe, you have proof that this person just attempted something, and now I have my paper trail to further press whatever charges you need. And in that same thing, I need everyone out there, I need a favor from you all. If you could, anytime you see Joe commenting anywhere, screenshot it and report it to whoever's channel that it's been commented on, in case they haven't seen it. I appreciate everyone who does that. And then also send it to me. You can send it to me on Facebook, or you can send it to my email at truthordemonspodcast@gmail.com. I'll also put it on the screen so everyone can see it. I'll link it also below. I just need to make sure I document all of this, and to take that power back to make sure that I am safe and do everything I possibly can, because we all know there's not much that can be done, but there are things you can do to stay proactive about it. And I'm going to make sure I do those. Those things will all be in place, and any proof from here is just more help for me in that sense. So for me to be
I will say, from a legal standpoint, if you're helping out taking these screenshots for Stevie, ideally try to get the date in there, or the screenshot will be dated, but try to take a screenshot of his comment, but then go and take a screenshot like the video name and the date that the video was up or whatever, just so that there's more identifying information, so that when you're building out a case and you're providing, we gotta essentially create like a package of everything in a chronological order. So if you have more screenshots just kind of showing like the video and the date that the video was released kind of deal, and a screenshot of Joe's comment, ideally if you can kind of grab both that information, and at the very least, like if you send it and just make a note of what day it was too, to try to give some more information too. We can also take your message and the date that the message is on as well. We'll add that kind of to the file too. So just as much as we can with proof of things that he's doing, the dates, where he did the comment, things like that, right? It does help out quite a lot.
Be able to take back the power in this sense, and to feel better emotionally, and just have peace of mind, essentially, because there's not much I can do. But what I can do is make sure I document all of this.
Stevie has discussed with me, her fears of being a survivor of sexual exploitation, and what goes into that mentality of always questioning your next step, and feeling like a feeling of guilt for what has happened. And I think it's very important that we take note of the fact that this video's money is going to be fundraised for RAIN, which helps victims of sexual assault, so that other people who survive will understand that it's never your fault, and that there are avenues to help you. And if we could help that burden just a little bit more in getting to that survivor mentality, it'll all be worth it.
I couldn't agree more.
Yeah. Thank you, Stevie. Thank you for sharing once again. I'm so sorry that you have to repeat yourself, but thank you for being that voice, and hopefully other people will see this and also feel empowered, or at the very least feel seen.
Thank you for sitting with me and hearing it and being there for me as much as you have been.
Thank you so much to Joan for helping me correct some things and reiterate a story of my own. We both found it extremely important these facts be presented somewhere concisely and correctly. And I'd like to reiterate, I do not normally monetize this type of content, but Joan and I agree we'd like to help with this video, and any money made from this video will go to the organization RAIN. RAIN is the nation's largest anti-sexual violence organization. Its core mission is to stop sexual violence, support survivors, hold perpetrators accountable, and create safer communities. If you find yourself in need, please do not hesitate to call the number on your screen, 1-800-656-4673, or you can visit their website to live chat with someone. And there will also be a link in the description for you to donate directly. And thank you to Florios Files for teaching me how to set that up for this video. Thank you all again for being here. Until next time.
I'll put all the links as well in this stream too. I know I linked this video. I'm not sure if I'll put all the links from your video as well into mine here too. And that's what I'll do too is any like ad, I don't make a ton of ad revenue off of live streams usually. So any ad revenue that I do get there, or that I do get on this live, I will put it as well towards the RAIN too. So, because I'm collecting for them on some other videos as well. Yeah, here, I'll pin the link here. There, that's Stevie's video. You can check that out and grab all the links, and I will grab all of her links too. All right. Oh, there you go. Stevie also did the direct donate button as well. I mean, I can pin the donate button or I can pin the video. I pinned the video for now. All right. Stevie's occasionally tech challenge. You know what? Yeah. Stevie, I don't know if you're around for, were you around for my last stream? We were saying that Ed, the internet gremlin, came for me because my Windows got corrupted and everything went all bad. I can't remember if that was last stream or stream before, but I was just like, yeah, Ed the gremlin, man. I swear to God. So it was coming out to play. Yeah, and don't forget to like and share Stevie's video too. It's on June 30th, so if it's within 7 days you should still be able to hype it for like a day or two. So if you want to also go to Stevie's video that I did pin there, you have to do it on mobile and hype her video so that it as well gets pushed more in the algorithm. That also would help too. But yeah, so I kind of want to just review Stevie's video, wanted to get some more eyes on it, remind people what's going on, talk about some of our thoughts behind it too, and just like any questions people have as well, and so forth. So, but yeah, damn Ed, I know, right? Like, just follows us around all the time. But yeah, so that's what I wanted to look at today and just kind of wanted to cover that. I'm planning to do a stream, I think on Wednesday I have it scheduled, where we're going to look at the Bashar stuff. I don't really know what we're going to look at yet. I was more just like, I found it amusing how angry the Bashar supporters are and they're like coming at me hard. So I was like, I kind of found it amusing and I thought that I would talk about it because actually, like, I've never had a video that's had this many downvotes before. Like, it's kind of wild. Like, I've never, you know, usually it's the 10% rule, right? Usually, if you get 10% of the views compared to how many subs you have, your channel is performing normally. Anything above 10% is extra good. And usually from the 10% of views, you get 10% likes, right? So the 10% likes is normal. Again, performing normally. Anything above 10% is above and beyond. That's great. And usually how it goes is with dislikes, it's 10% of the likes. So the Bashar video is like, it's a lot of dislikes. It's they took away the numbers now, so I have to go in and check the reports and look at it. But like, it's like a 50-50. I'm like, I am surprised. I've never had like a video. Well, no, it's not 50. I think it's like 70% liked and 30% disliked. I've never had a video disliked this much. So this is like the first time I've had one. So I'm just like, okay, let's do a live. We'll just kind of like chat about it. I wasn't planning to do a deep dive on Bashar, but just because people are like so worked up about him, I kind of want to do a deep dive on him now too. Is there a plush Ed the Gremlin? Yeah, it'd be cool to do a plush of him. Sadly, when it comes to ordering plushies, because we've kind of looked at that stuff, is that you have to order a minimum of like 100, and you really do need to do like prototypes and stuff. So like it's a lot of money that you have to initially invest in it, which is why you'll see some channels they'll be doing like a pre-sale or like a Kickstarter or something to raise the money for their plush. You might see that on a lot of I follow a lot of animal channels, so they do this a lot. So yeah, it's quite costly to get a plush made. It's easier to just kind of do like a t-shirt and stuff, but a plush one day would be really cool to do. Yeah. But yeah, it's initially quite a large cost to get it going. Yeah, sadly. Um, looks like it's gonna be another night filled with pops, bangs, and booms. Yeah, I am surprised that we have not been having firework craziness here. Like, it's Canada Day weekend technically too, so normally people go nuts and there's constant fireworks. I don't know if like the weather has just been throwing people off, because they keep saying it's going to rain. They're like, it's going to rain in 2 hours, and then it doesn't rain. But because of that, no one's out at the fire. No one's sitting at the fires and doing stuff. So I feel like they're not doing fireworks because of it. So yeah, it's ridiculous for plushies. Been trying some ideas. Yeah, it's like we definitely would have to do some kind of like Kickstarter where people would be like essentially paying for it ahead of time. And then if we don't raise enough money for it, then everyone kind of gets a refund kind of deal. You can do that with Kickstarter, I believe it is. Yeah, the plushies are a pain, but it makes sense because they are custom. It's not just like a print on a t-shirt that they can do in 2 seconds. It actually, like, they have to actually sew it together and make these things, right? And then as part of that too, you really want to do prototypes. So you got to pay for the prototype, because if you don't do a prototype ahead of time, you never know what you're going to get from it, you know? So yeah. Like I said, I follow a lot of animal channels, so I've seen the stages of how to get a plushie released of the animals of these channels, and it's a very long process and it is costly. Yeah. But yeah, so I'm gonna end the stream here. We've been going for almost 3 hours and I need a break anyway. But yeah, if there's any questions you guys have or anything, let us know. Reach out to Stevie. You can leave comments below here, leave comments on Stevie's video as well. Whatever you guys want to do. And yeah, and then don't forget to follow Truth or Demons podcast is Stevie. Ladies Fright is Joan. Please go over and follow Joan if you haven't already. She should honestly have a lot more subscribers than she has. She's much more entertaining than other people who grow faster than her, you know. Anyway, it takes longer sometimes to grow as a woman, I've noticed, to be honest. It's tough. It's tough in the entertainment industry. Yeah, it's a little bit rough. I've seen it a lot with a lot of the women in this community too, that their like numbers stay pretty low, and then the men just kind of like shoot off real fast, real quick. And it's just like, it's just the way it goes. The same as actors, same as Hollywood, all that. Just the way kind of things happen. So please do go sub to Joan at Ladies Fright if you're not already. She's very entertaining, very fun. Yeah. But have a good night, everyone. Also, don't forget to check out the merch. I'll put up the hate merch tomorrow, and I'll do it'll be like a limited release if you want to wait to get stuff then too. Or I could put it up late tonight or something if I'm still awake. That'll be the plan. All right. Okay. Yes. Thank you, Stevie and Joe and everyone who came by. I appreciate you all. I'm doing the heart hands. I'm not doing whatever the heck it is that KK does. Just this weird. I have no idea. Anyway, all right, I'll talk to you guys later. Have a good night.